episode 103, and we are continuing our John Woo series with Bullet in the Head and Hard Boiled. I am your host, Blake, and with me today I have Luke.
Hello.
And Danny.
Hello.
Wanted to get Luke because he's rubbing his eyes. The time change is hitting him. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, but we're going to start with Bullet in the Head today, and before we actually get into the movie, I want to know what you guys think, because I know Danny has seen this one before, but Luke, you haven't seen this, right? Or you
yeah.
Seen this
I haven't
before.
I haven't seen this.
So what did you think about it? Your first watch?
I like it. I was not expecting it to be as like gritty as it was, or just like as like, what I've seen so far. It hasn't been like all like upbeat or whatever, but this is like another level. I feel like.
Yeah.
It's like in that respect, I need to rewatch it, and, like revisit just to like while having that in mind, to like get a full appreciation of it. But I do like it. I especially like I kind of noticed too about like these two movies specifically is like the way is like it feels like his camera is like a lot more like he's like more focused on like the geographic like area of like the sets in these two. I feel like he's like a lot of his camera's like roaming around them, and it's like he's kind of it's super interesting. I don't know if you noticed that as well.
No, yeah.
It's like it's
no,
almost,
I agree with
it's
you.
almost like he's just like kind of floating through the battlefield in a way, and just like it's super interesting with these two movies. Yeah, I liked it.
Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. No, it is definitely a darker movie for John Woo. I mean, we know that he is like nihilistic at points, especially with his heroes, because I mean, Shagging Fast characters have both died, and the two that we did last week, he didn't end on a upbeat note on those movies. Really, they're usually ambiguous.
See, I wouldn't say it's nihilistic though.
You don't think the killer's ending is nihilistic?
It's different.
It's different. It's different than Bull in the Head.
I think nihilistic is maybe not the right word, because like nihilism implies like there's like no belief, No, but there's like strong belief in it still. Maybe like,
there's strong belief, but at least in the killer, I think it's
like
the belief is. I think the belief, like they're being shown their belief is completely invalid, basically the entire movie. So
yeah,
but they still believe in each other, I guess.
That's the thing. That's why I don't think it's completely invalid. Like they're showing in the world they live in, it's invalid.
Yes,
but it's like John Woo still believes it anyway. That's almost like the theme. That's what I take from John Woo anyway. Is like even though like the world we live in like doesn't really like it doesn't even make sense for these values to uphold. You should do it anyway.
Except in Bull in the Head, whenever it's real, basically. I mean, like
not
Bull in the Head
end, though, like,
Bull in the Head feels real in terms of like this is how the real world would treat people with these values,
or how this kind of ends. Yeah.
In terms of like our heroes in this one, our heroes in air quotes, because they aren't the greatest people either, obviously. But they,
that's the one thing that takes me from making this like a perfect movie in some ways is like. The first part with like where they're introduced to the girl, like the girl singer, and they have to save her. Like, really, that plot point is only there to make them seem like good compared to the rest of the villains they're like fighting. Because like if that wasn't there, you'd be like, what's the difference between like what they're doing and everyone else? Because like, who's like the traitor?
Wisely.
Paul, what's his name?
I think his name is Wisely.
Wisely. Okay. Because he plays the traitor in Better Tomorrow too.
Yeah.
But in this one, like. He's like his journey's way more like believable, Like that's what you're saying. I guess to give my thoughts on Better the Head in general is like, to me this is the John Woo movie that's like his most realistic is the wrong way to put it, but it's like he's going for deeper values. It's almost like not deeper values, but like more political, like straightforward political.
This is his most political movie.
It's kind of crazy. Like
that's what I mean by
realistic.
realistic.
It's just like they all of a sudden just like go to Vietnam. It's like just the Vietnam War is like really breaking out. It's like, what?
Yeah,
it's like kind of crazy.
Well, I think that's what makes the movie interesting though, because it's like these are like, and I don't even because I didn't grow up there or anything. I can't really understand the true kind of what a Chinese person thought of the Vietnam War, like what they thought of Vietnamese, or the whole like the communist revolution, like from the perspective of a Hong Kong person. What was going on in Vietnam and stuff, and how like especially when they're going there, like we're only there here to make money. We're just like a third party, like we're not trying to get involved, and then of course they get involved anyway. But I don't know. Like I guess we're going to talk about what I think about the movie as we go through it. But I think it's really interesting because of that. It really stands out in terms of his most political, straightforward movie.
Yes.
And maybe just like
No, these two movies that we're doing today are actually probably his two most political and straightforward in terms of that. Like he's trying to tell the audience a message. Like
see, even Hard Boiled is like it still has the okay. If like you were selling to a studio, this is the John Woo elements at the end of the day.
Sure, yeah.
Well, this one doesn't as much.
It has them,
but it's like
way darker.
But still, at the end of the day, it's a way darker movie.
Oh,
through
yeah.
and through. Like
It's
it gets darker
crazy.
and darker instead of like
yes,
a Hard Boiled.
except instead of lighter and lighter.
Yes,
Well, like
exactly.
Hard Boiled is like a journey through the underworld back to life. Basically, this movie is just like the real world.
So what do you mean by
Crushing
real
people.
world then?
It's
like
just
that, or-
no, yeah. It's just like this is how the real world, or at least this is how John Woo, and honestly, he's right. This is how the real world treats people that have like values like this. Like if you have these values of like friendship and loyalty between three friends, a box of gold would definitely probably change a lot of people's views in this world on who their friends are, and like if like wisely shooting Jackie Chung in the head is completely believable in this situation, in that situation especially whenever we see his backstory, because that's one of the cool things about Bullet in the Head is he does give us a little bit of backstory into each of their personal lives before we actually go to Vietnam.
This is the most John Woo melodramatic, like almost where you're like, it's like a musical kind of elements where you're getting the backstory
the
more
backstory
musically.
while we're getting the title card.
Yeah. Yes.
While we're
Oh,
getting the
dude,
title
that's what I was
card.
gonna
It's
say. Like,
amazing.
what are we gonna
So-
do? Like, it's one of the most rapid. I was trying to take notes during. I was like, I can't even like.
yeah,
all
I
the
can't
information that's loaded in that first
It's
montage
so
is
loaded.
crazy.
It's awesome. It's awesome. But no, I love Bullet in the Head because it's not the typical John Woo movie, obviously, in terms of the themes that he usually shows in like this romanticized way.
Yes, it's less romanticized. That's kind of what I mean by more realistic.
Yes, it's not romanticized. He's not romanticizing these values. He's showing how the real world would actually like would take this down, and it's just you can feel the passion he has for this project because he was seeing things like obviously there's two clear instances that he refers to real world events that happened in like the Tiananmen Square massacre, and the execution of a Viet Cong like lieutenant or captain or something by the Republic of Vietnam. Those are both like homaged in like a way, and he's just representing them in a screen, like on the screen again.
Yeah,
and that makes it feel realer than it usually does. And that's one reason why the movie wasn't a success, obviously, in China or in like Hong Kong. It wasn't really a success except in the West, where the Tiananmen Square massacre happened literally the year before Bullet in the Head. People didn't want to watch it on screen, like stuff like
that's
this
crazy
happening on
that
screen.
he did that right after. So,
yeah, like it's easy to see why this movie failed, but I'm glad that we have it. Is the thing, like you don't really get a lot of movies like this ever, really, where the director has sole control over almost everything. Like he actually had sole control over everything in this movie. I think starting from Bullet in the Head on, him and Terrence Chang are the only two working on these movies for the most part. Like, because Choi Hark was helping him with he helped him with A Better Tomorrow. He helped him with The Killer and A Better Tomorrow 2. He helped him with some of his late 80s movies. But from here on, it's basically just John Woo and Terrence Chang. So they had complete control over everything. And it's fun to see what John Woo actually wanted to do for one movie. He was forced to do, we aren't talking about Once a Thief, but he was kind of forced to do a lighter movie, or he wanted to do a lighter movie. I say forced, but he really wanted to do this movie because he got to go to France and everything. He got to do all this stuff. He had a great time working on it, and it was way more lighthearted. So it was a really good like chaser after Bullet in the Head, honestly. But
and also, because something also interesting is that this is very similar to The Deer Hunter.
I haven't seen The Deer Hunter.
Michael Cimino, like it's like honest, it's like basically three friends like going to experiencing like basically you see like kind of their, because The Deer Hunter is basically about three friends that go to Vietnam, and then basically like they're like basically like I guess just like they're just like tough times over there, and like how much, and like basically changing them, and then like them like going back to society.
Make a fortune in Vietnam.
It's more just like they had to go fight in Vietnam, but it's all
Okay.
like three friends going to Vietnam and like kind of just like their relationship changing because of it. It's like it's very similar, but honestly, I think it's better than Deer Hunter? Because I'm not really crazy.
No,
about
I
Deer
do
Hunter.
know. The book that I'm reading on John Woo did mention that the Deer Hunter was an influence on this movie.
Okay,
and it's
that makes
easy
sense.
And now that you mentioned what the
story.
plot of Deer Hunter is, it makes sense too. But
it's I like immediately thought of it, but I definitely think this is better than Deer Hunter.
So I wanted to say, like, I said, like, John Woo doesn't have another movie like this, but the one that comes closest is Wind Talkers. And now that I was thinking about it, and the main reason, even though that has like a lot of different story and stuff, but it is very cynical towards like. That one's more cynical directly towards war, I guess. This one is kind of like it's kind of in the background. It's a weird mix. I guess as we'll get into the movie, like this like personal story mixed with this like huge political background that's happening, kind of just like in the background in a lot of ways. But then they somehow, and then there's crucial scenes where they get directly involved.
It's very Visconti does that a lot too.
Okay. No, interesting. But I was gonna say Wind Talkers too, but mainly the thing that connects to me is like what makes this a John Woo movie still is when we do get the action war scenes, he still goes all out. Like explosions everywhere, like great action. Like at the end of the day,
and I mean it's a John Woo movie still through and through, even with the friend triangle that we get in a lot of John Woo movies. Like that's a clear John Woo thing. It's just he's doing it in a more realistic way this time, where it's like, I mean, maybe not even more like realistic, but like one friend. It's just like this is a relationship you could see actually happening in the real world.
Yes.
Like whereas like Chow Yun Fat and Danny Lee and the Killer, like that would probably never happen in the real world, where a cop befriends a hitman like that. Like that's most of the time only movie magic can do that. But this feels like
one's more romanticized. Like
this one feels like a real deterioration of friendship over time. So
and I like because you mentioned like the box of gold thing as like kind of being an influence on the friendship, but like you kind of see it as like the box of gold also representing just like wealth in these situations, like why, like maybe John was saying that's why these kind of things happen in the first place. This friendship is like one small example of why these huge like events are even happening. A lot of it just over money in general. Like at least from a John Woo perspective, for sure.
It's a great movie, and we'll go ahead and we'll start getting into it because it's a very dense movie. But I already did mention that the opening title sequence or the opening credits are played to the most upbeat music for a movie that doesn't deserve it. But it's for the purpose of showing us their life before their decision to leave Vietnam, essentially. We're shown like Tony Leung as a dance instructor, which Tony Leung is fashioned after John Woo, obviously, in this movie, because John Woo was also a dance instructor whenever he was younger.
And then fashioned after Lane Delon and Hard Boiled.
Yes, and then fashioned after Hard Boiled. But no, so Tony Leung is a dance instructor. We see like Jackie Chung has a rough relationship with his parents because his parents don't like him being in a gang, basically. And we see Weiss Lee's situation with his father, where we see the poverty that he's lived in his entire life, which makes his storyline like you can understand why someone like that is easily swayed by money at the end of the day over friendship, because he doesn't want to live in the situation that he's lived in for 30 years. But the opening credits are leading to this boiling point where all three friends are fighting a rival gang, and it's showing that these three friends have been friends for a while and stick together through tough times. That's what he's trying to establish in this opening title sequence, and it's just so energetic. It feels like a Hollywood musical also, whenever you're watching it.
Yeah, because like the way they like jump like in the air and stuff, it's like this is literally out of West Side Story, bro. Like, which honestly that's definitely like an inspiration. I feel like
it is.
But also Tony Leung just taking like a stick, like putting a stick on fire all of a sudden, just like starts swinging it. It was like, what the fuck is going on? I love it.
It's amazing. It's just like it really is an homage to the Hollywood musical for sure. Also, but no, I do love this opening scene though. It's one of my favorites in John Woo. I say that I feel like for every John Woo movie, because I'm gonna be saying that again in Hard Boiled, where it's one of my favorite opening title cards. But but he's just great. He's just great at opening a movie. But the next thing that immediately happens is this is the political background of the movie being set up, where we cut to a strike or a protest, where they're not protesting yet, but they're getting ready or like handing out flyers to attend this strike that they're planning. And this strike will be coming back later on in the movie. We'll actually get to see the strike that they're planning now, but it's just politics are never at the forefront of a John Woo movie except in this one, really. And Hard Boiled, I do think, has politics closer to the forefront than usual, but...
And even in this one, it's only kind of in the forefront.
Yeah, it's like even at the forefront,
it's
like in the background of the forefront. So.
It's kind of like a Fellini movie in some ways. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
It's like, it feels political. Like, Armored Core has a lot of politics in it, but it's like...
It's just kind of like weaves in and out of it in a way. It's like, it's not really like directly making a statement on it.
And it makes sense also because this is like a memories version, like type of the time of the movie. It feels like, like these are good memories that they're having, and like an Armored Core. Is Armored Core the one that has the Mussolini head? Or
yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, like
too.
that.
Really great just being in the background.
Amazing, but Fellini's doing it in that movie. Like he's just showing his memories from childhood, basically, and
there's like other
memories
parts too that kind of just like flow in and out as well.
Yeah, and that's one reason why Armored Core is amazing, obviously. But that is how a Bullet in the Head kind of feels, or Bullet in the Head kind of feels at this in this opening 30 minutes or so while they're still in Hong Kong. And the movie moves really fast, honestly, especially these first 30 minutes, because we're like getting introduced in this like political scene to Tony Leung's like girlfriend who he's eventually going to marry, like in the immediate next scene almost, But the next scene, like, we actually have is the three friends are discussing actually leaving Hong Kong. Because they aren't getting anywhere here. And this is another kind of political message in the movie. This movie came out, I think, in 1990. Is this after they killed the guy? No, this is still before. Okay. No, because they're talking about leaving Hong Kong before Tony even gets married.
When they go on that bike ride.
Yeah, like right before the bike ride. I love the bike ride.
Well, that'll come back, too.
Yes, it will. But like this political undercurrent of young people in Hong Kong not being able to get anywhere in their lives because of this situation that Hong Kong, like the Hong Kong's about to transition back to China in '97. I think this movie came out in 1990, so that's only 7 years away. So that's a big part of this movie is people are just trying to make a quick buck. And that's a big part of Hard Boiled too, is people are just trying to make a quick buck.
Well, that's why they leave too.
Yeah,
right?
That is why they leave, is to make a quick buck. Still, they have to get their money somewhere because they aren't getting it.
Because someone at the wedding tells him like you can make money off of someone else's war. Yeah, and they're like,
that's that old man or whatever.
It's the American way, or I mean, the Chinese way, the Hong Kong way. Like they were American at this time, still
British, but yeah,
or British, yeah.
It's the British way. It's the British way too. There are some good quotes like. Why? Because like it's still trying to build the friendship between the three still. Whereas Wisely's saying, "I don't want to be a nobody for the rest of my life," and Tony Leung responds with like, "Wherever you go, count us in," basically saying we're with you no matter where you go. And then Jackie Chung's like, "Yeah, we're just like windflowers settling down wherever the wind takes us," which that's also going to be coming back because we figure out that's a song that Sally sings apparently. Okay. But yeah, then it's the bike ride, which is just an amazing bike ride. This is just like. This is where it really feels like a dream almost, where they're having a reflection of the past almost. But I mean, the bike ride's amazing. It does cut after the bike ride to Tony getting married. This is why I said it moves kind of fast because like the relationship with the girl is still not like it's always John Woo's weak point where it's like never built up enough, but it's kind you just have to go with it. You know?
He has to get married, so you feel emotional attachment when he leaves her, like for some reason.
Well, she does have some good quotes. Like she's there. It's also like
Blake's like trying to defend it. He's like
also no one's usually the wife's dead, so it's like kind of the opposite.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's still same thing.
I'm trying to defend it because he makes a parallel with this girl to the singer in Hong Kong, as in like that's one reason why Tony wants to save her. Is because of this one, but you also don't like that part, and it's one of the weaker parts still too of this movie. But we have like. More of Jackie Chung's character development here, where he said he'd get money for the reception, and the reception is intercut with us watching him get the money, and he gets the money he gets like a loan for I think $3,000 or something, 3,000 Hong Kong dollars. Starts running back, and he's running through another gang's territory, and they stop him and beat him like up. And Jackie Chung
with a bottle,
with a bottle. You know from the start that Jackie Chung is going to basically be the one getting the bullet taken in the head because he gets hit in the head by his mother with a shoe in the opening montage, and then he gets smashed in the face with a bottle like right in this opening scene too.
It's interesting because like there's also I noticed watching this time there's a lot of other hints about is it Weiss? How do you say the actor's name? Weiss?
I think it's Weiss.
Weiss or Weissy?
I think it's Weiss.
Okay,
But...
that's up on my notes. But there's a few hints to where you already see he's going to be the one that's like he's already money obsessed from the very beginning. Like,
oh yeah.
I'll mention it later.
No,
but,
well,
I like there's little hints throughout the movie. Where
There are great hints if you're paying attention to how he's framing.
Also, the bike ride. The bike ride I forgot is
the bike ride too.
When he falls, he's the one that falls, and Tony Long saves him, and Weiss is
just
watching.
Staying because this is the thing with. I was gonna wait for just a sec because we're almost at the scene of them after they kill Ringo. They're like standing on top of a building, looking over Hong Kong, and the way that John Woo frames their friendship, this entire movie is like. Jackie and Tony are always next to each other, and then Wisely is always off to the right, usually. Or he's always apart from the group or separate from the group. No matter where they are. Even from the beginning, he's always a little bit separate from the group. And so that's just little subtle hints that he's giving like you that this is the man that is going to betray them in the end. Or betray one of the friends in the end at the very least. But but Jackie does end up getting away from the rival gang, and he goes and gives the money to Tony Long, and still...
He's like shows up to the wedding. It's like trying to hide it. So
trying to hide it, and Tony knows this immediately, and he's playing. I think he plays it off pretty well. Mm-hmm. Jackie Chung
until he starts like actually bleeding out.
He starts bleeding.
Yes,
like onto his like.
But even then he plays it off. He still plays it off pretty well. But.
It's like I just like fell in the gutter or something. Like,
but when the blood does show with the rain, it's just like it's like so visual. Like I don't know how to say it, but yeah.
Well, something I do want like Jackie Chung in this movie is amazing. I think his performance is. It's hard to say he's better than the other three main characters in this movie, like Simon Yam, Tony Leung, and Wisely also, because they all are great. But Jackie Chung has a really great performance, and especially whenever he takes the blunt head.
Yeah, like the after.
Yeah, like the after, because you have to kind of buy into a performance like that, and he does a really good job portraying it, I think. But John Woo's a great director of actors. So.
You said that like we disagree.
Well, I said that like Danny disagrees.
What? No, I don't.
And we're back. Danny just loves disconnecting during the John Woo episodes. So.
It's what's that called? The adapter.
He hates acting, as we said before.
Exactly.
I need to get a new adapter for the mic because it's very comes unplugged very easily. But yeah, back to the show.
How can we back to the show? Yes, back to the show. We are about to go kill Ringo. Jackie and Tony are devising or not even really devising a plan, but just like they're gonna go kill him. They don't really have a plan. They don't. They're just gonna go with bottles in their hands, and this is more of kind of like the Hollywood musical element that it's kind of homaging in the fight with Ringo.
That's what I was talking about. Like, the West Side Story. Yeah,
it feels definitely a very West Side Story. This gang war, gang wars with these guys, especially in the action. They do end up killing Ringo, though. I mean, it is a little bit different. Well, I guess West Side Story. Doesn't someone die in West Side Story?
Yeah, this is a big fight between the two. I'm not like the biggest West Side Story.
I'm not either. It's been like 12 years since I've seen it.
There's better American
Why don't you
music.
talk about it?
I don't talk about it like.
I feel like you brought it up a lot.
I think I brought up like a maybe earlier John Woo episode because
John Woo's influenced by West Side Story, so.
But I talk about other American.
We'll have to check the tapes.
There's better American music in my opinion, but regardless.
Okay. Yes, regardless.
I mean, it is a highly influential movie. It's not a bold statement.
No, yeah, but regardless, they go to Paul's house and they all decide to go to Vietnam. Because the seed of Vietnam was planted in Paul's head at the wedding reception, like Danny was mentioning earlier. But this is where that one shot that I was talking about comes up, where it's the framing device of framing like Paul off to the side or like Wisely's character off to the side in the group. But before we go to Taiwan, we do have the quick like John Woo being in the movie again, where he's the detective again. And he's basically just coming and telling Tony's wife that he murdered someone, and they're looking for him.
I think I like his cameo in Hardboiled though more.
His cameo in Hardboiled
it's way more important.
It's one of the best. Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yes. But right after this, the boys are in hiding, and Tony, like right before they leave, Tony needs to tell his wife that he's leaving, obviously. So he's going to find her, and he goes to where we saw them meet the first time, where the protest is happening now. And it's really weird that the protest is happening in this area. It doesn't seem like his wife is connected with the protest at all, but she's always coming out of the building and in the middle of everything for some reason.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's trying to say something about this. Like,
yeah.
The kind of impossibility of maybe the impossibility of having this kind of relationship in this world.
Yeah.
Like, just an example of that. Because it's weird where, like, she says literally in the scene, she's basically like, okay, I just don't want to be with you anymore. Like, forget it.
Yeah.
She says, I don't think it's the exact quote, but it's like she says, everywhere is the same. We can't predict the future.
Yeah.
Basically saying that because, like, the future's not predictable, that's why their relationship can't exist, And, like, there's literally, like, an explosion that happens, like, right after
it's the bomb guy, or the bomb
exactly.
What year did this come out again?
This came out, I'm pretty sure,
90.
It's in 90 or 91.
Okay,
Letterboxd says 90.
Okay, 90.
Jacques Demy had a film in 1984, Un Chambronville, that's, like, very similar, like, about, like, the exact thing you just talked about. Because it's about, like, the strike protests in Paris. Like, and it's, like, basically just, like, kind of about the impossibility of human connection, like true human connection, or just like love, but for people like people like suffering under those conditions. It's like very similar. So
that's why I was taking this scene out, because it is very like, I don't want to say awkward, but it's like very there's a high contrast between this like kind of melodramatic foreground and like this political background.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. And I mean, he does parallel this also later with. I know that we flash. I think it's after Sally dies. We flash back to this part in the movie where she says, "Wherever you are is the same," or she says that quote like, "It doesn't matter where you are. Everything. This is how the world is basically." Yeah.
Plus, okay. Before we go on, because I wanted to mention this before we started, but I kind of forgot because. You guys know how I'm going to do Buñuel for my next series, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've been reading about his Mexican period. And like the melodramas, apparently like was basically the biggest genre in Mexico, even like basically till today, like in all its forms, kind of. And he mentioned like basically 4 main types of melodrama. And I was reading this week because I was like, damn, this kind of relates to John Woo's like really hard boiled, because John Woo. We keep mentioning melodrama with John Woo.
Yes.
And so he mentioned 4 types of melodramas. He said the musical melodrama, the cabaret film. And then there was one called the revolutionary melodrama and the family melodrama. Like, those are the 4 main types. It's like, this one is basically, and if you read the description of the revolutionary melodrama, it's that of a romantic story set against the backdrop of a revolutionary war. It's like very similar to like this movie too, but also with the mix of like the family melodrama, which is the family melodrama, which settled matters of nationalism, modernity, and post-revolutionary policy in a domestic setting. So it's like
it's a fusion.
It's like it's like John was trying to meld these like forms of melodrama that he probably has in his head,
Yes.
And it's like the revolutionary one that really stuck out to me, because like this was apparently a huge genre in Mexico, the revolutionary melodrama, where you would like, it's kind of what I'm saying. You'd have these like very romantic foreground stories in a way to get to the politics of the background.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to send that. Can you send that to me? Because like Visconti is like literally like that's literally like
no, but that's why a lot of people they make the argument that's why melodrama was so popular in Mexico. Even among common people, like why do people like melodrama so much?
Yeah,
it's like kind of a combination of these two in good and bad ways.
Yeah.
And in different ways too. Like John Woo is obviously like you can use these like very formulaically, but.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can use everything formulaically.
Yeah, exactly.
As we've seen.
That's true, exactly. But it was interesting when I was reading that. I was like, this is that. Because I like just watched Bull in the Head too. It's like, holy shit, this sounds like Bull in the Head too. It's like,
it is.
It's like a harsh, this whole movie has this contrast of very strong character emotions that almost feel like distant, a different part than like the politics going on, like a different political movie going on almost.
No, it does for sure. Really only 4 types of melodrama though.
He says that's the 4 main types.
The 4 main types.
Like that were, there's definitely different like subgenres.
No, but this is definitely a fusion of those 2 that you were talking about, the family and the revolution for sure. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's Tony and his wife with the revolutionary background, their love story, but it's also the family unit of them 3 up against a revolution in terms of like. That protest, but also the revolution or just the war in Vietnam in general. But
exactly.
Which is, I'm sure the Viet Congs consider that a revolution. But,
oh yeah.
And it feels like John Woo. Like that's one thing about John Woo, at least in Vietnam. It doesn't feel like he's taking sides in that one, at least. I don't know. I don't feel like he's taking sides because like he shows the bad of both sides basically, where the Republic of Vietnam shoots the Viet Cong guy like in an execution style with cameras all around, and then we have the prison camp obviously with the Viet Cong, but
that's why it's like it's weird because they get caught up in just the emotion of it, you know,
like they literally just get caught. Like it's why that quote of Jackie Chung at the beginning, like we're just like windflower, just makes so much sense because they are just like windflower. They're just going wherever the wind blows them, and like they're getting caught up in all this, like all these different currents of like war.
Yes.
And it's taking them to places they don't want to be.
yeah.
And it's taking everyone to places they don't want to be, obviously. But but their arrival in Vietnam, this is where shit starts going really bad. So immediately, because like I love their drive into Saigon. And one thing I should have mentioned earlier, and I know I've mentioned on previous podcasts, is that this was John Woo's idea for A Better Tomorrow 2. We did not get that idea for A Better Tomorrow 2, obviously. We got what we got.
But I feel like it would have been way different tonally, though.
It would have been extremely different. It would have been this way totally, probably.
Yeah.
But they did A Better Tomorrow 2 because Choi Hart thought this would be too dark, basically. And then he went on to make A Better Tomorrow 3, which was basically this story.
Oh.
It is I don't want to say way more lighthearted because it is still pretty dark, but it is light. It's more.
Wait, so who's Jackie? Action. Who's the Jackie character?
The Jackie character in that one is Tony Leung Kai-fei, the one that's in Prison on Fire. The Tony Leung that's in Prison on Fire.
Okay, so he's not in it. Okay, so then who's Chow Yun-fat in this one?
Chow Yun-fat in this one. In this one, Chow Yun-fat the Chow Yun-fat character is Tony Leung.
Oh, okay.
Because he's the one. Like we'll get to these scenes of them having Jackie Chung down.
See, I'm trying to see. Like, I don't know if I can see Tony Leung, like that Tony Leung character, being the same Chow Yun-fat we see in Better Tomorrow. Like I don't see him as the same guy at all, really.
Probably
Come on,
not.
like like he's like
they're different actors.
He's like way
actors.
different. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, I'm trying. I need to watch that now.
No, Chow Yun-fat fits more with the Jackie Chung character in this one for sure, because like that's who if Chow Yun-fat would have been in this movie, he probably would have played the Jackie Chung character.
Yes.
But regardless, he wasn't in this movie, sadly. But Jackie, that's one reason why I love Jackie Chung, because he's great in this movie too. But I mean, like their arrival in Vietnam is the immediate assassination attempt of a general, and they just get caught up in this thing. Like, so one thing I know that we missed earlier is like Wisely made a deal with like a triad boss in Hong Kong that they would sell penicillin in Vietnam to the Viet Cong, I think. And so they have like just all their goods on this taxi, and they're rolling up on this place. They see like a procession, the general's coming to his car, and then they see like their taxi driver sees this guy on a motorcycle come, and he's like, "Oh shit, everyone get out!" And they're like, "Get out? Why?" He's like, "A bomb." They get out. The bomb comes and hits their car, blows up all their shit, and then things just go from bad to worse because the general ends up. I don't think he dies in this scene, but they're still continuing assassination attempts by other people, and they just get caught up whenever the military come. They get cordoned off, rounded up with everyone else, and get taken to like. I'm pretty sure it's a church.
It's a school ground.
School ground.
There's a bunch of kids. Like there's
a bunch of kids. Yeah. It looks like a Catholic school almost, or like it looked like a Christian school to me for some reason, but. Whenever they get in there, this is the parallel to that execution of the Viet Cong captain that I was talking about, where they get rounded up and questioning starts almost immediately in full view of every civilian in the street that wants to look, of any newsman that wants to look or anything, or news or a journalist. That's what they are. Yeah. Newsman. Jesus Christ.
News reporter.
News reporter. Yeah. Anything better than newsman. But the cameraman.
I like newsman. It's interesting. It's interesting.
That feels like a 40s like a 40s thing.
Newsman. I can't.
But no, yeah, like just anyone, even the kids are watching. But they start getting questioned where this general's just walking down the line and not shooting anyone yet, but he's pointing his gun at everyone as they're like crouched on the ground with their hands above their heads. And I think it's I don't remember exactly which one of them jumps out, but I'm pretty sure Wisely jumps out saying we're Chinese, like don't shoot us or something.
Hong Kong people.
We're Hong Kong people. That's what it
They
is.
keep saying that.
Hong Kong
word.
people.
No, but that's what I was saying. Like, that's where like if you were from that area, kind of you would understand like what that has more significance of being like we're from
No, for
Hong Kong.
sure.
We're not involved in this. Directly,
No, yeah.
Like, because that is a big difference.
No, it is a
like,
huge
from
difference.
Vietnam, that's what they're basically trying to say. Is like you're saying, they just get caught up, literally.
Yeah, like we're not part of the Viet Cong.
Yeah.
We are from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely close on whether the general's wanting to kill them or not, because they're freaking out a little bit too much, and the general just it almost seems like he just wants to kill them. But then they find it like one guy speaks out over on the other end, and that's the guy that actually did it. And this is the shot that's a reenactment of real life, basically, where you can go online and look up the execution of this prisoner, and it's basically a shot-for-shot remake of it, where John Woo did the same shot of how he was executed. But it's a very violent scene, very like shocking, honestly, and you can tell why it didn't go over well with a lot of people. But hey, it's a great shot too. But after this, scars have been left on our boys.
Yes.
They go and basically just talk about what happened. Like, I know that I'm pretty sure Wisely's the one that's basically saying like, with a gun in our hands, the world can be ours. And after that, they go to the nightclub, where this nightclub's going to be pretty important, because this is where that singer is. It's where that basically this triad boss, I'm pretty sure, from Hong Kong came down to Vietnam and set up operations here, and that this is who this guy is, that they're going to end up not killing, but trying to get Sally from. This is our introduction to the Hong Kong singer. They do all see her, and they do recognize her because they're from Hong Kong. Like, it's pretty obvious there. But one of my favorite parts of the movie happens next, where we're introduced to Simon Yam's character, Luke.
Yes. Oh, with the beard too.
With the beard,
like, because
so
I watched
good.
this movie before I had seen any of Johnny To's movies, really.
Yeah.
So like after watching a few of his, I've seen a decent amount now. But
You've seen a decent amount for sure.
Yeah, just like it hits now because he's like young now. He like looks so young. He looks so good with the beard too.
He looks amazing, dude. He looks so good in this movie.
He does.
But his introduction is so cool, because this is just another clear inspiration or clear like homage to Les Samurai, where he gets the guns obviously from the piano or whatever. But no, he just looks so fucking hot. I don't know. He does.
Because we played the "I'm a Believer" song at the beginning.
No, yeah,
we get this during like when Tony Long's in the
bathroom. It's one of the best character introductions in a John Woo movie.
Yes,
because like he just walks into that "I'm a Believer" song playing. Tony Long looks at him, and he's just like. You just see this like slight head nod for him to like get out of the way, and then he just shoots the guy
right behind him,
because he's a hitman.
Yeah,
and I just love whenever it's like when I saw her face, I'm a believer, and it's just like Tony Long like looking back at him after he's done it.
No, because he looks back, and then the last line is "I'm in love."
I'm in love.
Yeah,
yeah. So good.
It's edited so well.
Good. But no, after the hit, Simon Yam is so cool. He just doesn't care, basically, because he just walks out and talks to them. Because, like, the reason they're at this club is to meet him. They just didn't know what he looked like. And so Tony Long's obviously already met him, but he introduces himself to everyone else. And Wisely's whole reason for talking to him is he wants a gun. Because that's the way they're going to be able to make anything in this world.
And that's why we go back to his apartment or his house,
and
which makes sense to Catherine Deneuve poster, because he's half French.
He is half French.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I'm thinking that like just kind of like symbolically what it's supposed to be is because we see the same poster later when the blood splatters across, so you kind of say like that's like John Woo's is a symbol of beauty basically, and then the blood like going across is kind of like what this whole movie is about, really.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even believe in that beauty.
It was just so jarring to see Captain Duvall, so I was like, wait,
well,
what
the shot when the blood goes across.
Because like that shot where the blood goes across is a flashback actually to him trying to rescue the Hong Kong singer. They caught them in his apartment, so it's like him trying to rescue this vision of beauty that he sees, and then he can't, and the blood gets sprayed all over the other vision of beauty that he has in his apartment. So no, it's John Woo goes off in this movie with some of his images, dude. It's so good. But he does end up giving Paul he ends up giving every one of them a gun. And cuts to immediately the next day where Paul and Jackie, you know something bad's going to happen because Paul and Jackie are out and Paul just says, "Hey, follow me." And he goes into a convenience store. They buy something and he's like, "I have no money." And he pulls out a gun and tries to rob it. And Jackie's just like freaking out. Like he's literally freaking out. He's like, "What the fuck is happening right now? What are you doing?" But they end up stealing. And as they're going out, this is one of the amazing scenes in the movie where you're like, "Oh shit, they're gonna get caught." Because the cops are coming, basically.
Well,
the
military's
coming.
coming.
Yeah, like even worse.
With the tank, yeah.
With like just a big M60 like pointed right at them. And so they like hold up their hands, throw down the money and everything, and like, don't shoot. And the guys are telling them to get down, and then they blow up, or they like start shooting up the jewelry store right behind them and steal all the jewelry.
Yeah, it's such a good scene.
It's such an amazing scene.
Well, because that's what I'm saying. He's trying to relate these like
Yes.
things that are happening to the characters that are like kind of these politics that are going on in the background and stuff. Because we kind of skipped over the line that it's like, well, let's shut the apartment. Why Paul is saying he still wants all these guns. He says, "Today I saw some soldiers kill people. I learned something in this world. I learned something. In this world, if you have guns, you have everything. Tell me how much a human life is worth."
Yeah.
And then that's when he's like, "Okay, let me prove what a gun can do." And that's basically what he decides to go steal. Because like that's him proving his point. And so then when John Woo shows like the military show up and they just like prove the point like
even more,
like just way overblow it.
Yes.
Too. Like it just like makes it even better.
No, it does. And the how much is a human life worth is basically the question of this movie.
Compared to the guns, like what guns and money are. Basically.
Yes. Like how much is it worth?
Yeah.
And we see to some people it's worth
a
a lot more.
Depends
than
on the
others,
person.
so,
Right?
Yeah, it depends on the person. I do love this. I do love the quote. Like after the soldiers get done stealing everything, Jackie's like, "Wow, what a fucked up world." But right after this, we have another protest scene, and this is where like the parallels between the Hong Kong singer and Tony's wife are taking place because he's meeting the singer here at the bridge because they made a plan to meet at the bar the night before to meet at this bridge so that she could tell him what happened essentially. And it's happening during this protest. It's like a protest to stop the war because the Vietnam people don't want the war to happen. They don't want the war.
Why do you think he's trying to marry these two though? Like what?
I think he's trying to do that because he's trying to show us the reasoning for Tony needing to save her, basically.
Because he's remembering.
Because in reality, they're supposed to be here to sell those drugs to the guy that's her pimp, basically, the big boss that's controlling her. Yeah. And he's trying to show us like this is the reason why Tony feels so strongly and can convince Jackie to feel so strongly about saving her.
Is because of his wife?
It's because of his wife. It's like
because of like these two scenes, like
because they're Hong Kong people, dude.
That one I understand a little more. Is like they also see her like. That's where I'm like, it's a little too like. Of course, the only difference between the guy they're selling to and them is like this guy's like so much more evil to women for some reason.
To women for some reason.
Either like they would be way more okay with it because like this is the world they live in. You know, like, well, who they think they were selling to? Like, fucking Barney or something? Like, they're, like, so shocked. Like, this guy hates the women. But that's, like, my one problem. Like, it's the only difference is, like, the only difference between evil and, like, good. And, like, I guess I wouldn't say, like, John was saying these guys are good, really.
No, he's not.
It's just more he's trying to show, like, because they're about to get killed and stuff, like, almost, like, justify the killings a little bit. Maybe, like, that's how I see it, but...
I mean, they're going the extra mile for her because.
But like, how much more evil they are, like towards her. Like, she's been like she was a huge Hong Kong singer, but now like she's just been in like slavery for 10 years. So like, come on, like.
I mean, it probably happened.
Maybe.
I know that John Woo's talked about. We'll get into this in Hong Kong or in not Hong Kong in Hard Boiled. That the Triad were a massive problem, obviously, especially if you're a popular actor. But so it might. I mean, this stuff. I believe this stuff more so than not. Sometimes
maybe just the way it's done. It just like
it's over dramatized.
Yeah,
that's John Woo.
Especially if she doesn't show up. I guess she does die. So I mean, that's why she doesn't show up later. But like, I'm not hating it. Just kind of maybe it's the weakest part of the movie. So it's like by default, I don't like it as much for me.
It is the weaker part of the movie, for sure.
Because compared to what all the war stuff later. But.
Yeah. But this scene at the bridge is just a way for her to tell Tony that it's not worth it, essentially. Like you shouldn't try to save me, because we get a flashback. This is the flashback that we were talking about earlier, where the blood appears on the poster, where we see that Simon tried to save her before, and failed miserably. Honestly, not miserably. He did pretty good at the beginning, but then he got caught. So but right after that, we get to the bar, and this is where we get like the first instance of Paul saying he will kill anyone who gets in his way. I know that Paul has this, like his character has this a lot, where he's saying like he's the one saying all these like all the greedy phrases basically are coming from him.
Yes.
Where it's like we're just getting
these are the hints I was kind of saying.
Yeah, the hints that we're getting that he's going to sell them out for money if he can. Yeah. But this is where we get that reenactment of Shouting Fat's speech or like talk and A Better Tomorrow, basically. Where Tony Leung stands up for the Hong Kong singer, and because he stood up he's forced to drink an entire bottle of whiskey.
Yes.
But instead of him doing it, Jackie Chung does it for him. Downs the entire fucking bottle, and then an entire gunfight breaks out.
Well, because the boss, like, then now they have to do it anyway. Like, the other two have to still do it.
The other two still have to do it, yeah.
And that's when the gun's hidden behind all the pianos.
Yes, it's so good. Like, yeah, like, it just starts a ridiculous gunfight that's pretty cool.
Is this the... maybe at the end of the movie you'll have to say what's... Actually, more hard-boiled, but what's the best gunfight? What's the best gunfight from either of these movies, honestly?
That's hard, because Hard-Boiled has so many good ones, but...
This one has a few good ones.
This one has a lot of good ones. I mean, this one's really good.
This one's more explosive heavy, though.
This one's explosive heavy, but it's also, like... more tense than just like bullets flying all the time, because it's like they capture him very fast. Yeah. Like they get the big boss like very fast, and use him as a hostage for a very long time. While they're like they use him as a hostage while they're breaking open the safe, while Wisely gets the gold, and while Tony Leung gets the passport. Like all that happens while they still have the boss like under control. But, like, this is, like, really them going after the singer. Like, they get the singer during the scene. They go into that room where the safe is, like I said before. Wisely starts, like, his character starts going insane for the gold. Basically just, like, throwing caution to the wind. Almost starting a fight with Simon because he's not telling him where the gold is. And before he finally tells him where it is. And this is their first glimpse of the gold. I love how the gold looks whenever they just open it up. It just, like, shines on their face. Just, like, a classic MacGuffin thing. But, But yeah, after this we get like just another great set piece of their escape from the bar, because they have the passport, they have all the gold, and now they start escaping. And the escape takes probably 5 minutes of the movie, I would say. I don't know, it's a long time because they get stopped at the stairs for a while. The boss ends up escaping. Like Wisely's fucking around with his gold off in the corner the entire time. This is another way that John Woo just separates him from the group, where he's literally by himself basically this entire time trying to like just fucking around with the gold. But they do end up getting out after a while, and they get stopped at a checkpoint because the Viet Cong.
I wanted to mention this was the first major hint you see is like. We first see Simon Yam and Wisely in the car alone waiting. And Wisely's the one who's like drive off already without him, and like that alone should tell you like this guy doesn't like care that much.
Oh yeah,
about his friends pay the money, but because I remember like I don't Simon Yam's face is like just like kind of weird. Like he just doesn't. Obviously, he waits for them.
No,
yeah,
he's just kind of like looking at him funny kind of.
Yeah, but yeah, then they get stopped at the checkpoint.
They get stopped at the checkpoint, but I do like that him telling him to drive scene, because it like comes back in the boat whenever he's the first one on.
Exactly.
And he doesn't leave, which is kind of crazy because you think he's going to, but that's just a seed that he plants in your head because of this scene. But yeah, at the checkpoint, this is where we learn that Simon used to work for the CIA, and it's like just the thing of like John Woo adding intrigue to a character that was already intriguing because we don't know who he is. Now he's just adding even more to make him more intriguing. But yeah, like after they get through the checkpoint, they arrive at a river, and this is where they're waiting for a boat to take them back to Hong Kong. And it's just a great shot. I just love the shot of the river with them all standing on the beach. And this is just another instance of Paul just being focused solely on the gold at the detriment of everyone else, because he's focused so much on the gold that he doesn't care at all about Sally, obviously, and her, like, what's going on back there, while the other three of them are. And then we see, as the boat's coming up, the Viet Cong starts hacking. And just another amazing scene, because this scene also reminds you of, like, Wind Talkers, just because of the beach, but...
Right,
just
yeah,
action on
yeah.
the beach, but... action near water.
Explosions near water.
John Woo loves water. Because this one also ends at a pier, or at a dock. But, I mean, it's just another great set piece, where they all... Like, this is what I was talking about before, where Paul's getting onto the boat first. He doesn't care about them. He offers some gold to the boat guy, or to the captain of the boat. Gets on... The captain gets shot, and this is where you think, like, oh shit, he's just going to leave them to like, maybe not die here, but to get captured. Basically what you think is going to happen to... You wouldn't think that Wisely would stay, because of what we saw before, how he's been acting. But he does stay because some better part of him still understands friendship at this point.
I don't know about that.
I
thought someone yells for him to be like, stay, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if he still has that friendship you're saying, though, because like
I think
this whole scene is still like
I think
all
he
gold
sees
on-
Ben almost there, and that's the reason he stays.
Yes, exactly.
Because because Tony Long's character.
So maybe you're right. Because later on in the movie, he's like, even if he had saw them there, he would have gone.
Oh yeah. Well, like later on in the movie, he shoots him.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they all end up getting on the boat because Simon he had booby trapped. He expected this would happen, so he had booby trapped the beach beforehand and blew it up. Fucking amazing.
But she dies. We should have mentioned.
Yeah,
that
she
too.
does die in this scene too, and they just let her drift off in the water. It's kind of a crazy shot, but
Yeah, the body floating. Yeah,
it's a great shot.
I like water's bodies.
Just
Bodies floating in water.
Altman.
Yeah, I mean, Altman does that a lot.
The river.
Well, just like he has two shots of people, Long Goodbye and Cape Visible, are people floating in water, dead.
Long Goodbye.
The river.
I was thinking of Shortcuts.
Oh,
with the girl,
yeah.
With the girl with that one girl.
that's
That's the one I was already thinking of first.
There's like three.
The girl they find the body. Those
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
So yeah, Altman does have. That's weird.
Well, he loves floating stuff, I guess.
Dead floating bodies.
This no,
The one in Shortcuts
Three Women
in,
has one too. When you kind of see in her dreams, or she jumps into the water from the balcony and she's like floating.
Yes, yeah.
That's four.
Yeah, he likes that.
There's gotta be one
Popeye's on the water.
There's like a
He
lot
has
of
to
water
have
in
one,
Popeye, bro.
It's a lighter movie, but
It's amazing.
that's interesting though. He does like that shot.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh yeah, the next
keep
scene.
going.
The next scene in this is just the best scene in the movie, or one of them. It's the header for the podcast or not the header, but the still that we chose to use for Bullet in the Head, where they have escaped the Viet Cong for now, and they're all just on the boat, kind of reflecting on what happened, except for Wisely, who walks out and he's like, listen, I'm sad that... Or actually, he doesn't walk out to, like, the boat. I think the boat breaks down at this point, and no one's willing to help because they're still, like, just really sad. So he walks out, he's like, listen, I'm sad about Sally, too, but we have to get moving or else they're going to catch us in our gold. And then it's like, at this moment, we're like... Basically, all of them snap at him, but mostly Tony Long and Jackie.
This is the most like friends, so. This is the John Woo friendship speech.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
This is where I can see Chow Yun Fat as this character also. This speech.
Oh yeah,
this kind of speech.
This speech is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna read it obviously in a second, but I just love how he's just throwing the gold off, and then like Paul just draws a gun on him, and then Jackie draws his gun on Paul, and then you have the classic Woo standoff.
Yes.
And it's at this moment where Tony Long says, "Are you putting this gold before your friends? Do you still know what friends are? Do you know what you're doing? You're pointing your gun at a buddy of over 10 years. Do you measure our friendship in gold? Is this enough?" And then he holds up gold and throws it in the river. And they said, over 10 years of friendship, that friendship is over. We're not friends anymore. Shoot me. And it's just it hits so hard because Tony Long is a really great actor, like he really is, and his delivery in this line is amazing, or in this scene is amazing. And then Jackie Chun kind of follows suit, says the exact same thing, and starts throwing gold over. And then Paul's just like looking at them with the gun, and he just like breaks down because he's still this is what I'm saying. Like, he's not fully gone at this point yet. He's almost there, but he's not fully gone because he still doesn't shoot them. He just like falls on top of the gold and says, "Please stop. I'm sorry." I think I actually wrote down. He says, "Please stop throwing it away. I'm sorry." All I want in life is this. Is simple. It's just this box.
He's like, just this box of gold. Is that too much?
Yeah, it's
like,
so good.
Yeah. Honestly, this scene reminded me of Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Too.
I haven't seen who directed that.
John Huston. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if John would like that movie.
I haven't seen that.
It's about like 3 guys who like go and like mine gold, and then like it's about greed basically.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like it's kind of.
John Wood didn't. He did like classic Hollywood, so
as he should.
As he should.
Don't say anything.
He just saw it. Like,
plus, but after all that, I love how like Simon Yam like he comments like on the situation too because he says he's talking about the boat, but he says this boat is sinking. We better do something about it. Yeah. But he's like basically commenting on like the whole situation too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like their friendship.
It's so good. Like that scene's one of my favorite of the movie. So, but yeah, after that amazing scene, we get them just floating along the river still, and they come to a stop at the beach, and we see the Viet Cong are waiting for them at this beach, and it's all hell breaks loose at this point, basically, where they're all jumping off the boat because the boat's like it gets blown up. Simon Yam's character goes off on his own. He goes like full Rambo mode in this at this point, while the 3 friends are kind of just lagging at the shore because Jackie and Tony are waiting for Paul, and Paul's just like sinking in the water because he can't let go of the gold. They for some reason go back and get him because I don't know, they're still friends apparently.
They're still that bond.
There still is that bond, at least in John Woo movies for sure. Where they do go back and help him, and they do drag him to shore.
Like, to me, that's more interesting. Like, that's like a more interesting John Woo moral than just like saving woman equals good. You know, it's like
okay.
It's like Tony Leung giving this huge speech about how he's like not friends with, but like,
and they still go.
But that's like his whole thing is like he can't do that, you know, just because of their friendship in the past. Like,
like their friendship might be over, but he still doesn't like let him die.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
he just can't do it. Like,
it's just not in his nature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I do love this because it is like the scenes of them like going back. This like friendship is cut with Simon like being just like a badass and killing everyone in sight. But after this, this is another thing. Like you can tell that Simon Yam has done stuff like this before. At least, like his character in the movie has done stuff like this before because he's being smart. Whereas our boys, they're on the beach and they just start walking into the forest, go like, "Luke, Luke, are you there?" And then they get caught by the Viet Cong immediately. Yeah. So they're just so dumb. But
and then this movie turns into Prison Break.
This movie turns super depressing.
It turns into a POW movie.
Yeah, POW.
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing about it. It does like do that a lot, but I kind of like it.
Well, there's a lot of different like movies in this.
Because it's so funny because the movie I watched right before this was History is Made at Night, the Frank Borzage film, and it's like literally like that as well. It's like honestly that one even more like drastic
than this one.
Yeah, it's insane.
This one
I can't
real dark.
No, I'll talk to you about it.
All right.
I'll tell you about it afterwards, but it's like honestly insane.
I mean, this one goes real dark. So
I mean, it doesn't get as dark, obviously.
That's what I'm like. Well, because this has,
but still gets insane. It's like insane.
Does this one? I think this one lasts. I think this entire POW like sequence lasts like 15 minutes maybe, but it feels like 30 or like even longer because of the shit they're like having to deal with here. Like I just love how he opens it. Like this is like what you were talking about earlier, where he's more focused on like the set. It seems like than the actors, at least in these moments, where he's just moving his camera around this place, like letting you like just kind of wallow in the misery of it for a while.
Yeah, it's like it's a decent amount of like scenes without the main character. It's like almost like documentary footage of. It's still, you can tell sets and stuff, but like the way he's filming it is like filming like a documentary. Yeah, before he shows like that GI getting killed, like as he's like running across the water. Yeah,
it's a rough scene because like
that's another like hint of like we're gonna get worse. Honestly,
like if this is how it starts. But we see that obviously we get like this. The Viet Cong found their gold, like they dragged it with them, obviously. And as they're pouring all the gold out, they found CIA papers inside, and so now they think one or all 3 of them are connected to the CIA, and so they start playing like this game with them almost. If this is like where it's like, it feels like he's homaging like a Russian roulette game almost.
Well, he's smudging Deer Hunter. That's
Okay.
literally like
Yeah, I
the most
haven't
famous
seen
scene.
Deer Hunter.
It's like the
Oh, does Deer Hunter have a Russian roulette scene?
literally like the most famous scene.
Okay,
in the movie.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's like
Would they make them do this? Also kill?
No, see, like
yeah, it's I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's like if you look up scenes. From
I actually
Deer
think
Hunter,
I actually remember now. I did read this in the book.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about, or Kenneth Hall was talking about this in the book, where Deer Hunter had like their Russian roulette scene is. They have 3 bullets in the chamber instead of 6, and so you have a 50-50 shot at living.
Yeah.
But I don't think they make them shoot other people. I think they're still shooting their own themselves.
Yeah.
And this one is a twist on that, obviously,
Yeah.
where they're playing Russian roulette, but the Russian roulette is how many people are you going to kill before you go crazy, and we kill you basically.
Yeah.
And we first get to see them playing this game with like an American soldier. I think he's American. He might be British. I don't know, but he's they're forcing him to kill fellow prisoners, and he makes it through I think 2 or 3 before he himself runs away, and they kill him.
Yeah.
And then the 3 main characters are witnessing all of this. Like we're basically them at this point. We're just watching all this shit happen because
Well, like, at least it's not our 3 main
helpless,
characters,
so.
you know. They're not
yet.
involved yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
And then Jackie starts freaking out because the guy looks directly at him, like the prison warden or whatever, like looks directly at him, and he's like, he's looking at me, and he starts freaking out. And they make Jackie do this game next, and it's really hard to watch, man. It like really is, and it's hard to watch, especially because like you're watching Tony Leung and Wisely watch this happen too. So it's like we're watching this, and then we're watching his friends watch this, which makes it even worse sometimes. Like people he cares about are also watching this happen, and so I don't know like if Wisely's plan this was to try and make this game stop, but he does say CIA after Jackie shoots I think the first guy. Like Jackie shoots the first guy, Wisely says I'm CIA, and so they take him into the main tent so that he can tell them where they are. And they continue the game anyway with Jackie. And he shoots one more guy, he shoots a third guy, and then he goes crazy, basically.
He goes crazy, and Tony Leung's like, I'll take his place.
Yeah. He's like, I love killing Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is another, like, maybe Italian fat thing. It's a way different, like, obviously, tone, but, like, watching them speak English, like, is kind of funny. Like, yelling in English. Italian fat better tomorrow, too. No, this is obviously way different.
way different vibes. But no, yeah, he just says, I like killing Americans, let me kill them. And so he gets the gun, they give him the gun, and he starts killing people. Until eventually, and this is all
I think he only shoots one guy.
He shoots 2 guys with the machine gun.
Okay, yeah.
And then they want him to kill Jackie. This entire time, by the way, we've been intercutting, or John Woo's been intercutting like Simon coming to save them, basically, because he's on his way. So we know at least this is where like kind of the tension in this scene comes from, because we know that someone's on the way to help, but we don't know when he's going to arrive or if he's going to arrive on time.
Yeah.
And we know that John Woo doesn't care to kill main characters because he's done it multiple times before.
But it's almost like, this is what I'm saying, this is like a very weird movie, because it's like, we're getting this like super intense POW realistic movie, like our main heroes are actually having to kill, you know, like something you wouldn't expect, like a melodrama per se. And then all of a sudden, like Simo Yen comes like as like an action hero, almost like to save them before they have to kill each other, like to keep the
it's like
movie
it's like
going,
the 2
you
movies
know?
colliding.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. There's like certain moments like that.
Well, it's paired perfectly because like it's like their prison break starts at the right exact moment Simon Yam's attack starts, or like it causes the distraction for Simon Yam to attack, basically. So,
but then we see an important moment of Tony Leung still going crazy, like and he does his like bullet in the head moment of like shooting that kind of. Basically, a guy he didn't have to really
He's the
kill.
warden. It's like the warden of the camp or something.
But to me, like what this scene kind of shows overall is like how people just overall get stuck in war. You know, like even just like these young guys who really have no option. In this case, it's just like by accident. But even people like just soldiers in general that get stuck in war a lot of times. Like the people actually doing the killing have like the least control of like what's going on, you know, or why they're even doing the killing in the first place, you know.
Well, and it's like your emotions get control of you, and you can't stop. Either,
yes, exactly.
Because that's one
by
thing.
The emotions of the moment, you know.
Well, that's one thing I think he's especially shown with Jackie Chung's character, because Jackie is the most innocent of the three. I feel like you can easily say that. Like, he's the most good-hearted.
I think he's the most easily swayed too. Like,
he's I don't think he's like easily swayed. I think he's the most like strong. He's the most like strong of character in these three. Like, he has the most morals of the three in terms of like the most strong set of morals that he will help his friends no matter what. He's like a good guy in that type of John Woo type of character. Like, this
so
is
how does that make him different than Tony Leung though?
Well, Tony Leung, we've seen like he's at. It's like he's
like,
willing
I would
to do
describe
things.
him exactly that same
way. Well, it's
way,
like Jackie Chung just seems innocent because he doesn't want to kill people. It feels like he's been against this type of thing from the very beginning, where it's like he's going with them, but he's against Paul whenever he's robbing a convenience store. He's against all basically any of the killing.
But that kind of goes to my point of saying he's a follower too, because he also
is a follower for sure.
Like. He also just goes along when Paul does it, you know, like he doesn't really stop.
But he's also the most. I do think he's the most innocent.
But that's why I say Tony Leung is the one who's like, he's also like that, but he's willing to fight back more against it. Where like it feels like
he's more strong.
Yeah,
Jackie.
Yeah, that's why I was saying Jackie feels a little more swayed by either side. Like if Tony Leung wasn't there, he might have just followed Paul just because that was his friend, you know, even if like Paul became evil, you know. That's why I say that, like. But that would have been innocent from his perspective of being still good, you know, because like that's his whole idea of like following a friend. But,
yeah.
Even if like
I can see that. I can see if he was by himself with Paul that he will just not care about the girl as much.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of thing. Like, because Tony Leung is also the one who really cares about that girl.
He's the main one. I mean, Jackie cares about her too, obviously, because he's the one that notices her. She's also he also notices her and has to play everything. But at least in the movie's terms or like point of view, he's the most innocent in terms of like he doesn't want to kill anyone, especially Tony Leung and Wisely don't have really any qualms about killing people that much. Jackie, meanwhile, does not want to kill really anyone. I know they shot people at least on their escape, but he had to. Even then, it's like he's not a very good shot most of the time. But no, he does kind of go crazy in this scene, which kind of sucks. But no, that like what you were saying with Tony, also like the emotions take over him in that scene where he puts the bullet in the Warren's head because he just keeps on pulling the trigger after it's done. Yeah. But yeah, like after this, like everyone gets split up after all this. Where Wisely's off by himself, he's been by himself for a while. Jackie and Tony get split up at some point. Simon is there. He ends up I think he finds Tony first, tells him to get to the checkpoint, and then he goes looking for Jackie and Wisely, who have somehow reconnected in a field where Wisely's dragging like the gold away. And Jackie comes up and he's like, "We can't leave yet. We have to go back and look for Tony." And then they see like Viet Cong start coming through, and actually no, Jackie saves Wisely's. This is what makes it even like more cruel what happens to him, because he saves Wisely's life whenever he like comes upon him.
Yeah. He takes a bullet for him, I think.
Yeah, Viet Cong are about to ambush him. They do ambush him, and he jumps and takes the bullet for him, and like pushes him out of the way. And then, like, he's rewarded with a bullet in the head by his friends.
Because he's being loud, and Wisely's trying to hide, so then he's like, I have to keep this guy quiet, basically. And
he's literally whispering in his ear, like, don't blame me, you just gotta stay quiet or something. It's just like, and then, like, Simon Yam witnesses this, so it's perfect. It's perfect movie logic.
This is what I'm saying, like, this is like, Simon Yam's like the movie character.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, he does witness Wisely's betrayal, and then, like, the slow, like, he goes in the fog and disappears, basically. But this is where, like I said, the movie splits up our main three characters, so we don't know where everyone is anymore. We do know that Jackie is at least with Simon. We don't know if he's alive or dead yet, because he did just take a bullet to the head. You would assume he was dead if you were a normal person, but if you were a normal person,
we'll be bad.
But we will be back.
He'll be bad.
But while we watch them like flying away in the helicopter, this is where that village scene takes place, where Paul gets on the boat, or like he gets to this like random village and finds a boat, and he's gonna take this boat, you assume, back to Hong Kong. But before he does, like some villagers try to stop him because it's not his boat. And
I think to me it's supposed to show more like he's just paranoid at this point. Like,
oh yeah, he thinks.
Like, I don't even think they're trying to stop him. He just like thinks they're going to try to stop him.
Well, I think they're trying to tell him like, please don't take our boat. Like it's our boat.
Like some boats on them.
But yeah, then he just unloads on him because like it's the thing that I said earlier. Like if anyone gets in my way, I'm gonna kill them. Like he said that.
Yeah,
he said
exactly,
that
yeah.
earlier, and he's this close to getting away. And he's not gonna.
He's
let
basically
anyone
fully
get in
turned
the
at
way.
this point.
Oh,
Like,
he is. He's fully turned because like as we see
after he kills Jack. Like that's the
yeah. Well, as we see, oh yeah, after he kills Jackie, he's completely gone at this point. No friendship anymore at all. But even if I don't know if he recognizes Tony in this scene because he's kind of gone crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's just firing on everyone, and Tony comes and grabs like that little kid, and then he gets shot.
He's basically telling him to like stop shooting. And,
Yeah.
like, trying to help. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he gets shot, and then he just like takes his boat to, you would assume, Hong Kong. At least that's where he's gonna end up. But after this entire process, Tony gets rescued by Buddhist monks. That's how he ends up recovering from everything. Is he gets rescued by Buddhist monks and healed. It takes like I don't know, like 2 minutes or something before, but, like just a quick little scene of healing in a like a Buddhist temple.
Yeah.
But hey, you need it sometimes. But he it's like an immediate cut back to reality where he goes to Simon Yam's house again because this is like. And you don't even really know how long it's been. You wouldn't assume it's been that long, but this house looks like abandoned for years whenever he goes. And you kind of see, like, whenever he gets in there, you see the consequences of Simon Yan being in the war. Or, like, being in Vietnam. Like, it leaves scars on everybody. I think he has a quote saying something like that. Like, the war leaves scars on everybody because he walks out and you see that he's lost his right arm and his face on the right side is completely scarred. This is where the movie just gets extremely depressing because Simon basically tells Tony the story of what happened or what he didn't see in Vietnam. He tells him that Jackie was shot by Paul and that now Jackie isn't doing so good because he has a bullet stuck in his head and they can't perform a procedure and because it would turn him into a vegetable. And we see like a couple quick cuts of, or like a quick cut to like Jackie being in. I'm pretty sure he's still in Saigon as a hitman, and that's the only reason. The only reason he's a hitman is so he can get heroin because the heroin is the only thing that can stop the pain of the bullet in his head.
Yeah.
And Tony asks Simon to take him there, and he does take him there. And then Tony witnesses firsthand, like, what's happened to Jackie after he lost him in Vietnam. And it's just really sad. Like, this is where the acting, you have to kind of, like, buy into the acting, and I do. Like, I think Jackie's really good in these scenes. Like, it's really heartbreaking. And part of it is definitely Tony Leung also being amazing because you can see the heartbreak in his eyes whenever he's watching all this. But, like, we have a lot of different things. Like, I know, like, Simon gives him heroin because he knows that's the only thing that will keep him like going essentially, and Tony's trying to get him to stop taking it. And while he's trying to get him to stop, he has this like quick quote where you actually see he gets through to Jackie a little bit because Jackie actually looks at him for the first time, where he's like, "You called me brother all the time. I told you we can just be friends. Friends are all equal." And after all this, like, it's still Jackie just kind of going insane because he's not the same guy. And so Simon gives Tony a gun, and Tony's about to like shoot him in the back of the head, and then Jackie grabs his hand and like guides the gun to his heart, and it's just so sad. It's so sad, and then he just shoots him right through the heart. And he does say, like, before he shoots, he's like, "I don't mean it. I just can't let you live like this."
I know, dude. Damn.
And then he just shoots him.
Like, this whole scene, because you described a lot there. Like,
it's a lot. And it lasts longer than that, obviously. Like, there's more I wasn't talking about, but...
I love the title of this movie, too, because, like, there's so many scenes where, like, okay, that's where the movie gets this title from.
Yeah.
Like, and they keep changing it up. You're like, oh, wait, no, this is why.
Oh, they literally that bullet in the head. Like,
yeah, like, literally.
It's literal.
No, multiple times, though. Like, like, when we see the first guy die from the famous picture and everything, to even this, like... To, like, bullet in the head just being, like, the idea of, like, maybe, like, just trauma that war leaves, you know, especially in soldiers and stuff. It has all these different meanings just from that's why I said the title's great. Yeah. But then also, like, because it's also in The Killer, where we see Chow Yun-fat kill his, like, friend, too, at the end, where he's like, I don't want to die like a dog. And I was kind of thinking like, damn, like that's like John Woo's like one of the questions is like, would you kill your friend for friendship?
Yeah.
Well,
it's something that's deeply rooted in probably, I don't know about Chinese tradition, but at least in Japanese tradition, that is a huge thing. Because whenever you commit seppuku, you have your most trusted friend there with you to chop off your head after you cut yourself. So that you don't suffer while dying, so that you at least have a quick death.
Or the
so it's
idea
been
of
this
like
honor killing is a thing, at least in Japanese culture. I'm sure there is honor killing. There probably is in Chinese history too, but
that's interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, killing for friendship though.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, after all this shit happens, we cut Tony back in Hong Kong. And he's looking for his wife again. And we see that he's a father to a beautiful little son that's named Frank. Somehow his wife knew that he had died, but no, I'm just kidding. This is where like a lot like this. The last 20 minutes of this, really, this entire movie just flows so well because you're just flowing through it all until like this last 30 minutes where he's in Hong Kong, like 20-30 minutes, where it's just him and Wisely, like settling dues, basically. Because we cut to Wisely in a conference meeting with the Triad, and we see he's a Triad big boss. He's about to be elected the new big boss for the Triad when Tony walks. I
mean, it's so funny because this right before Tony walks in, the scenes remind me of like Plain Jane and some of the because they literally say Wisely is getting announced to the successor of Mr. King. Like, that was the guy's name. Like,
Mr. King.
Yeah. No, but then he walks in like with the skull.
No, yeah. Well, they say I like it because a guy walks in first and says, "There's an old friend of Paul that's here to see him," and then Paul just kind of looks over there, and then Tony walks in, and like Paul's just being this massive fake ass in these scenes where he's like giving him a hug and going like, "Oh, I missed you," and he's just like whispering in his ear half of what lines yours. He's like, please don't do anything stupid. But I mean, this is just an iconic part in the scene where Tony like lays down his bag, and I think like Paul had just said like, "What's mine is yours," and then Tony responds with like, "What about Frank?" And then Paul's just telling him like, "Oh, I lost Frank in the woods. We got separated and stuff." And then like he lays down the thing and then he pulls out Frank's skull, and he's like, I know that in this scene it's just like Tony's calling Paul out on his bullshit essentially, and he's like, Simon basically told me what happened, where he saw you shoot him in the back of the head, and he says. He ends up showing him like there's like a bullet still on the back of his head, but he I know that he says this line of why didn't she shoot straight? Why'd you make him suffer more? Is it worth it to kill a friend over a box of gold?
Yeah.
Or was it worth it to kill a friend over a box of gold? It's just like this scene just hits. Honestly, I love it. I love
the close up too of the bullet that he holds in his hand too.
Yes. It's because that's also you could tell you could say that's another reason why Jackie grabbed his hand from the back of his head and put it to his heart, but he's like I don't want you to shoot me where the betrayer shot me. Shoot me where it matters, through the heart. But
damn, yeah. Also John Woo, heart overhead,
exactly. A heart overhead director.
Honestly, in a good way though.
Yes, in a good way.
Not a Spielberg type of way. I'm kidding.
You're not kidding.
He's not kidding, but yeah, after all this happens, we have the end of the movie, essentially, where it's like, just a car chase. Tony attacks Paul and his men, and they have a car chase all the way down to the docks. Where else?
Yeah.
Where else? It's all the way down to the docks.
It's intercut with the bike.
It's intercut with the bike race that we saw at the very beginning with them at the docks, too. And it's just like it's nostalgic.
Yes, yeah.
It just gives us.
Or it shows almost like this duel of like this is where their friendship was and this is where it is now, kind of.
This is what life has done to these people, basically. So, or what war has done to these people, what Hong Kong has done to these people to a certain extent. So.
Then we get these insane like last shots of
it's just absolutely insane last shots because like I just love it because. Like, the car is really where the last action of the movie takes place. The rest of it is just, like, Paul being, like, this crazy person thinking Frank's skull is talking to him. It's like, I just love it so much.
Gosh.
Where he's just like, he comes and sits down next to Tony. And Frank says he wants to rest in peace. What should we do? and then he tries to like force Tony to shoot Frank's skull again.
Yeah.
And he ends up succeeding. And then Tony like grabs the gun out from behind him and shoots him.
And then he walks on.
Well, he shoots Paul in the head, obviously.
Yeah.
I love the like scream he lets out like right after he does it, because it's how we as an audience kind of feel at this point, honestly. Like all the pent up emotion that's been happening between these three friends is let out in that scream, and then he just walks off screen. It's very ambiguous ending, because he probably dies after this. Like I feel like that's an easy reading to have, is that
that's why I think it's more like a symbolic ending. Like
yeah.
Almost like both sides of this friendship is gone now, like the money side and the like
and the
innocent side. Yeah, now just like the cynical kind of in between. Maybe I don't know.
It's very.
It is a very ambiguous ending. Like
it's a very ambiguous ending. It's a very great movie. I love this movie a lot. It's one of John Woo's rougher watches. Like it's not one that I come back to very often, although I have seen it 3 times now in a year. So I do. I obviously do come back to it often, but
it's
not
just like that's what I'm saying.
Often,
it's the least John Woo movie. You're like, oh, I'm in the mood for a John Woo. It's like this is not the movie you're thinking of.
Yeah.
If I want to be,
that doesn't make it bad.
If I want to be
it's
depressed
actually really
today,
good,
I will choose this movie.
Yeah, just a different stylistically or tonally anyway.
Well, and it's just like formally it's great too. Like,
yeah.
Which
actually formally it's kind of similar to maybe his other ones. Tonally it's a lot different.
Tonally it's I meant formally it's interesting because it is like his other forms, but it's like he's deconstructing his own form with this type of movie almost. Yeah. He's like deconstructing the romanticism that he usually puts in his movies. But
and maybe he might have criticism of not being political. And he's like, okay, here's politics, bitch.
Here's politics, bitch. Oh my god.
No,
I mean there's politics in the background usually, but not usually this heavy for sure. But yeah, that is the end of Bullet in the Head, and so we will take a quick break and come back with what he is most well known for. Well, actually, Face Off is probably what he's most well known for, at least in America. But Hard Boiled is what we're doing next. So. And we're back from the break with Hard Boiled, John Woo's most popular Hong Kong movie. Honestly known as the only one he's ever made in Hong Kong. No, I'm just kidding.
Is it really that much more popular than Hong Kong?
No. The Killer's also... The Killer and Hard Boiled are probably his 2 most popular Hong Kongs. They're the ones that Criterion at least released over here. That's probably the reason why they're at least a little bit more popular, because we had US releases with actual subtitles for them. But yeah, no, Hard Boiled, I mean, in a certain sense, it's kind of deserving that this is the most well-known, at least in the West, for John Woo, because it's definitely his most Western movie in terms of, like, his most movie like the West. Like, how the West would make it, like an action movie. Like, it feels like he's doing a Western-type action movie more so than he usually does in this one. But he's also infusing it with, like, Eastern themes that he always does in his movies, but... this is another movie I'm pretty sure Danny has seen and Luke has not.
Yeah, it's my first time.
First time watching Hard Boiled. What did you think?
Do you think I like it?
Yes.
I think it's my favorite genre.
Okay, damn. Basic. No,
yeah, I wasn't expecting, honestly, to...
It's amazing.
To love it this much. It's like, I mean, there's a few factors.
I think, well, obviously the action is amazing. Like, it honestly reminded me of Rio Bravo, where, like, each action sequence would kind of have just this he'll just throw in this, like, really interesting dynamic where something will, like, kind of deviate from being, like, a typical, like, just boring shootout.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like there's some element to it. He just keeps upping that throughout the movie.
Oh yeah.
Which, of course, the action in general is like, obviously, it's John Woo, so it's gonna be good. And I would say, like, even though like maybe this movie isn't as outwardly like melodramatic or just like outwardly dramatized as Live, like he's maybe a bit more focused on the action, you could say. I still felt it as much like the kind of like connections between the characters in this one, even though it isn't, because I think even if it isn't like specifically like shown on screen, really, you could feel it. Like, especially the stuff between Chow Yun-fat and Tony Leung, like I can still feel it. Basically, is what I'm saying. Yeah, for sure. Like just as much as the other movies, I feel like. Yeah, there's more to, but yeah, I love the. Yeah.
I'm glad you love it. I wasn't expecting you to say it was your favorite, but
Yeah,
So far.
I understand too. It's a lot of people's favorite, honestly, John Woo movie.
I don't see how though. That's what I'm. Like
you don't like the
let me give
baby
my
scene though,
thoughts.
right?
The baby scene. I mean, I liked it more this time. Like I was kind of,
because I love
but it kind of like
He told me, he was like, it was shorter than I remembered. And I was like,
Baby scene's
exactly,
so
that's
good,
what I've been
though.
telling you.
But it's like I kind of wish it was longer, honestly.
But it kind of does like emphasize the why it's not my favorite John Woo is like, in some ways I can see why it's like visually maybe in some ways is most oppressive in a lot of ways, especially with the explosions and just like the choreography of a lot of the shootouts and stuff. But it's missing like the heart that some of his other movies have, in my opinion. Like I don't know, I should love a Tony Leung, Chow Yun-fat like kind of like
I felt it.
It just I like the Danny Lee, Chow Yun-fat, the killer kind of connection. Like theirs hits harder for me than this one.
It does for me too. So that's the reason why Hard Boiled is my least favorite of John Woo's masterpieces. But I say that because it's still a masterpiece. I still love this movie. I still watched it 2 times on back-to-back days this week because I love it so much. But it's just like the connection between Tony Leung and Chow Yun-fat is weaker, in my opinion, than most of the other connections he forms in his movies.
I agree.
Obviously not like after this, Face Off is better. Like that connection that we get between Travolta and Nick Cage is a little bit better, I think, than this too. But it's yeah, I just don't think there's enough time with both of them. We don't understand their feelings enough.
Yeah.
As much as we would, as much as we do in something like The Killer. Like The Killer is a good example.
There are certain moments we get like where they're like emptying the gunpowder.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, I just like how it's like all unsaid. I don't know why. It's like it's
no, yeah.
It's
it
almost,
still works. It still works because I still feel
it's like they're like saying one thing, but they're really just like the way they're like looking at each other and the way just like they interact with each other.
Especially
like,
the first half. That's the whole point, especially with Tony Leung's character.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What we're seeing
and it's
is
like
not
and then
totally
like, of course playing that into like the action sequences, kind of how they start and everything.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. I don't know why I don't buy the connection they make as much as like Danny Lee being obsessed with Chow Yun-fat, like just chasing around. No, but I still like it, and like just visually, there's just some really great stuff going on here, as we're gonna talk about. It just maybe you kind of said it in some ways too, or you kind of said it around it. Like it also feels like this is his most studio movie to me in some ways. Like not in a bad way, but it just feels like
I don't know.
in terms of when you said he was making it for Western audiences,
it's
like it's just the most like. I don't know. It's missing that kind of like John Woo, almost like extreme emotion that I like somewhat.
I disagree there. Yeah, this has very extreme emotion, but
maybe it's just like sometimes where you're supposed to take a shootout seriously, then all of a sudden you don't take it seriously. I hate that kind of stuff. And like with the babies, like you know they're not gonna kill any babies, so it's like it kind of takes the attention out of it. But then all of a sudden there's like where he just like guns down a bunch of hostages, you know.
Yeah,
so it's like
that's amazing.
It's like that balance. I don't know if I love it, but I appreciate it.
Day doesn't like babies, confirmed.
He doesn't. I mean,
when they cry, they're annoying.
If they would have killed one, maybe it would have been
the baby in this one.
Wait, what?
The baby in this one.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it takes the tension out. You know this baby's not gonna die.
Yeah, but I'm still enjoying.
They do kill one. Actually, it is kind of interesting. Like I'm maybe hating too much because there's that one guy who's like going down with the baby, and he gets shot. And you think he's gonna drop the baby, but he's still like. Is a hero enough to at least hold the baby down before he dies.
He lowers the baby.
He lowers it. Before he dies.
Because
you're like, oh shit, he's gonna drop this baby. That was impressive.
Gotta give him credit.
No, but I do like the movie though.
The baby's too cute to die.
Like it's like almost opposite of the last movie we just did though in terms of story. Like it's just like if that's like his deepest in terms of what he's trying to do, like with different levels of storytelling. This is like kind of his flattest maybe.
I think this one is his most straightforward in terms of what he's going for or what he's trying to tell. because at this time, like this is I think 1992 or 93, one of those two. It's like getting closer to 1997 when the British are supposed to get back Hong Kong and
92.
China. 92, yeah. And so John Woo said multiple times that this was a extremely bad time in Hong Kong where crime was rampant everywhere. And so he said that he did put a more straightforward message in this to like the cops, basically telling them that they should actually do something about the crime. But at the same time, it's interesting because he says that, but at the same time in this movie he shows the cops and the criminals as being very similar, especially in terms of there's this one specific scene that we'll get to with a Guan Yu statue in the police precinct, and I have the commentary for this because I have our Jean Woo's Criterion commentary. And he said that both the cops and the criminals in Hong Kong worship that god, or worship that statue, basically. So he's trying to draw parallels like that. But I love Hard Boiled personally. It's one of his masterpieces to me. It's like his action has... I love his action in all the other movies, but and I think it's like in The Killer, it's a little bit more like charming, maybe is the word for it, where it's like maybe just more like suave and cool. More so than this one, where this one's just like insane.
Dudes rock
for sure.
It's bombastic.
Very bombastic from the get-go, and that's for a specific reason, because John Woo said like I was trying to one-up myself with every action scene, basically. So, and I mean, like I've said this, I've brought up this tweet multiple times in this podcast where it's like someone saying you think you've watched the coolest thing ever happen in cinema and Hard Boiled, and then it just one ups itself 10 minutes later, and now Luke finally gets it. But but no, I do love it because it feels like even though the politics are not as strong as something like A Bullet in the Head, it does. You can still feel it in the background. You can still feel like this tension about like Hong Kong getting returned back to China in the background, and everyone trying to make a quick buck any way they can in this movie, and that's like why the cops are always outmanned and always outgunned by the triad, is because they're losing this fight with like morality, basically. But like it starts out in that tea house where, well, I mean, I want to finish my point on the Hong Kong, this Hong Kong thing with the tea house, because it starts out kind of there with showing all these trap birds, which is another late samurai, obviously. Homage.
Oh yeah.
But it's also a clear parallel to how not only the cops feel, but everyone in the city probably feels at this time in Hong Kong. They're all trapped birds just at the whim of the cops and triad, basically.
Just in the middle of it.
They're literally at this tea house in complete public, and it just devolves into chaos because the cops and triad are there and try to start shit. It almost feels like even the cops didn't think it would get that bad, basically, or else they would have never tried it.
Yeah.
But that's what this whole movie is about. We're always trapped in a location, and they're always trying to get out of it, and that's probably what and that feels like what John Woo's been saying about the Hong Kong people prior to 1997. It's that's how they were that's how they were feeling too. But I mean, we can go ahead and get into the movie because I do love Hard Boiled. It's one of my favorite openings again with John Woo. But I mean, it's tequila, drinking tequila in a super cool way. But no,
the sounds too.
The sounds are the best part of it, honestly. Yeah, John Woo said that this is how they used to drink tequila in Hong Kong. And he said that they used to do that little slap down to make it fizz because it made him feel like a man. But it's really just for the opening of showing us tequila, who he is, and he's this cool hard-boiled cop that plays jazz.
Yup.
It's a great song, great opening.
I saw the neon lights too.
Yes, the neon lights in the background are amazing also. But this is what I mean whenever I say the movie kind of just starts, because we get that quick opening with showing us the tequila character and how cool he is. And then we get just the tea house. And the tea house is an interesting location because this is kind of something Sai has talked about with especially Stray Dogs and things, and especially after Goodbye Dragon Inn. But film is really interesting because you can film places and then they can immediately be taken down right after that, and then you just have a snapshot of history that's not there anymore. And that's something the tea house was. They had 5 days to film this sequence because the tea house was about to be torn down that they were shooting at. And so they had those 5 days, they finished filming, and then the tea house is torn down right after that. And John Woo said this is like a historic tea house that got torn down. But he also said it was in a bad part of town. This also plays into kind of just hard-boiled in general, and also the state of Hong Kong is like John Woo and Terrence Chang, the director, both said that they had such a hard time with the triad while filming this movie because they would have multiple triads, apparently multiple different gangs come multiple times a day asking for protection money. And that's part of where the budget from this movie goes to, is because they had to pay the protection money because you had to. There was no getting around it. But yeah, he did say that like the tea house is in a bad part of town, so that's one place where they found them, where they started doing that. But yeah, like this scene's just really fucking cool because, like I said, it's just like it's a sting operation where Chow Yun-fat and his fellow like cops are operating the sting on the triad, who are smuggling guns into Hong Kong in the bottom of bird cages, where apparently this tea house is like a bird cage or a bird tea house or something where you can bring in birds and talk about them or some shit. But yeah, like it's really cool how he's just sitting here, looks like talking to the guy, and he's looking in the mirror in the back, just like watching everything happen. And the fight just kind of starts because they say like this code word or like Chow Yun-fat just says like this code word, and like one of the cops goes and swings like a teapot and knocks the bird cage down so that the guns fall out, and then just all hell just breaks loose. Like this is why I was mentioning earlier, where it feels like
you can say that a lot during this movie.
Every action sequence. But this one definitely feels like the cops weren't expecting this type of mayhem, basically, to happen. So, because like we find out like later on, like Chow Yun-fat killed a cop in this, like killed an actual cop, and we don't know if they're talking about like an undercover cop or if he's talking about like that cop, like the cop that dies with him, like his friend or whatever. Like we never know if he's like talking about an actual cop that he shot, like an undercover cop. But I don't know.
The one he's sad about.
Yeah, the one that he like made the song about or whatever.
Okay.
The one that he's telling Tony Leung he killed the cop or whatever at the very end. Like he says, he's like, whenever Tony Leung kills the cop, he's trying to make him feel better by saying, "I killed the cop also, and I feel like way worse about it than you." And you don't really know like if he's talking about like an undercover cop or if he's talking about his friend.
This one that died. Okay.
Yeah.
Because of this. Yeah.
Because like his boss gets mad at him for killing an undercover cop during the scene. So
basically blaming him.
Yeah, and I mean like. It's fucking amazing because, like, just the action in this. Like, I know, Luke, your review today was this is like you understand the Bullet Ballet moniker for John Woo more after watching this. Basically, it's the most
kind of
Bullet Ballet of film. So, and it really is.
Honestly, this is I think the camera like kind of roaming around the sets kind of like helps that in a way. It gives like it's like kind of creates a stage more for, I think, the Bullet Ballet.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's always a rhythm to Woo's movies. That's always been there, but and one reason that is like he doesn't like really storyboard or anything. He just kind of makes it up as he goes along, or makes it up day of, like a lot of the greats. But no,
you like Spielberg?
He just
No, wait, Dan just nodded. I was like, oh wait, you're like nodding, like caught himself.
I thought he storyboarded though.
No, he doesn't. It's like famous. He doesn't storyboard.
Interesting.
All the greats, apparently. No.
I like Spielberg.
It doesn't matter either way.
I like Spielberg.
I like Spielberg too. I don't know why.
No, he hates Spielberg. He hates Spielberg.
There's certain movies, though, for sure, that are really bad.
I can't disagree.
I mean, yeah, Spielberg has some sneakers for sure.
Jurassic Park.
Stop. I hate you. Stop the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Luke's like gone. Like we cut back. Luke's gone.
So Luke, he just kind of left all of a sudden.
Leave.
Yeah, totally.
We don't even mention it.
I'm in the closet.
We don't even mention it. You just don't even say a word. It's the podcast. The ballet, Bullet Ballet.
No, just Bullet Ballet. No, it's really like Chow Yun-fat at the very end of this, whenever he gets like covered in flour, taking on like whenever it's just him and the one other guy, like after the cop dies and everything, like his friend dies or whatever. And he kills the cop like that. It's just such a good image, honestly. Yeah. Like just his like fucking like flower face, and then the blood splurting out all over it. It's so good. But I do love what his supervisor, or what like the police chief or whatever, says to him. He's just like, "Oh, well done. You're such an asset. Give the guy a gun and he's a superhuman. Give him 2 and he's God." It's just like
That's another John Woo theme. Like,
yes.
being a god with a gun, basically.
I mean, literally. No, I thought the same thing whenever that scene always plays, because that's literally just John Woo commenting on his movies. So
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and his character in himself kind of comments on himself, I think.
he does.
Oh, definitely.
Later
He's
in the
coming up.
movie.
Yeah,
He is
yeah.
coming up very soon.
It's like his biggest role, I feel like.
It is, and we'll get to why soon. But before that, we do have the funeral of the cop, and this is kind of an important scene in the movie because it's showing like Chow Yun-fat, like John Woo has said, whenever Chow Yun-fat gets covered in flour and they shoots that the key witness or whatever in the police chief's case, he said that's symbolic of Chow Yun-fat basically becoming dead to the cop, or at least to the police. Like he's like this, not an outlaw because he's still one of them, but he's like ostracized from the Brotherhood because he did something like that essentially, or he killed like it's assumed like he killed an undercover cop and that's the reason why, but. Or he's just like too hot-headed, essentially, and now he's like ostracized because of that. And this entire movie is his basically journey through the underworld to get to like receive redemption, because it's super cool because like whenever he was saying this, everything was clicking into place, because literally the end of the movie, whenever they emerge from the morgue, they're literally emerging from the underworld basically, and that's whenever Chow Yun-fat's like renewed or like reborn. That's his rebirth basically, but. It's just got, I don't know, it's just got some of these interesting themes. But this funeral is, like, really important in that because it's showing, like, it's the only time I'm pretty sure we see Chow Yun-fat in his uniform, in his, like, cop uniform, because the rest of the time he's not.
He's in that trench coat.
Yeah, he's in that amazing outfit. But
He's, like, older in this one, too, right? Like, a bit older? He seemed to definitely...
No, he is, it's 1992, so he's, like, 8 years older than he was in A Bear Tomorrow.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
I don't remember how old he is in this movie. I think he's probably close to 40, if he's not 40 already.
Yeah, somewhere around there, probably.
But it's also, this scene is directly after this. We see like the scene of the police chief burning in that ritual the undercover cop's papers. Like we see, like this is basically a ritual he does every time an undercover cop dies, and this is how we know that an undercover cop did die. It's always like. The continuity, at least at the very beginning, doesn't really make sense because we don't know who he killed, really. Like who's the undercover cop that he killed that he's so distraught about, or is it that friend that we're?
That's why the way I watched, I thought it like he was basically blaming himself for that friend dying.
Yeah, because like it could easily be, and that's something that like Terrence Chang on the commentary said. He was like, "I'm so glad someone brought that up because I never understood it either." I was like, and then they asked John Woo about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I just wanted to." I forgot to mention, like, the hard-boiled wasn't even supposed to be hard-boiled. It started out with, like, the whole reason they were filming at that tea house was John Woo had an entire other movie with a completely different story that he was starring to film right there that had Tony Leung in it, where Tony Leung was poisoning babies. And then he started filming, and he was like, he started filming, and he was like, I don't want to do a movie like this because I don't want people to get the idea to like poison babies from like the way he was
that
doing
would
this.
crazy.
Danny,
I don't know.
No, I mean like, Face Off kind of has that like kind of serial killer element to it, but like
it does.
Tony Leung is a serial killer of babies.
Babies.
Because what was my criticism of Hard Boiled? What I just said. Maybe they should have killed the baby.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying it took some of the tension out of the action.
Danny hates babies.
It takes some of the tension out of the action. But that is interesting, though.
I
So they decided to start make this movie instead, or what?
Yeah, he just decided to like.
And with John Woo, I don't think I need like tension with the action.
Maybe that's why the story's a little more straightforward. Like,
maybe. I mean, it is.
Or was it a script he already had?
No, I mean, I don't know. The interesting part about this movie that we're gonna also get to soon is like the scriptwriter died halfway through this movie. So the last half of this movie did not have a script with it. It was just literally John Woo making up as he went. So
damn, he was Michael Bay transforming 2.
Transforming 2. Oh my god,
that is interesting though. Like.
No,
it kind of goes to what I'm like how I feel in my head. It's like story wise, it just.
But yeah, like the story doesn't.
Strong,
it's not.
like,
it's the continuity doesn't make as much sense in this movie. But
it
also doesn't matter. So it also doesn't matter at all. Danny, big time story over substance.
Yeah, he loves
Well,
loves
story
narrative.
over-
He just
story
loves
over-
narrative.
Oh, okay. Well, your movie kind of relies on it for a lot of.
Oh, okay, it does not rely on it.
No, it does not.
It's trying to tell a narrative at the end of the day.
It's trying and succeeding.
All I need for narrative is just like Tony Leung and just Chow Yun-fat doing cool stuff.
Exactly.
That's all I need in my life.
That's the
Alright,
narrative.
that's a fair-
That's the narrative.
Yeah.
With Anthony
It's just
Wong.
John Woo has that cool stuff and better stories than his previous ones.
It's good narrative for me.
I like the narrative.
Anyway,
It is
enough
good, it's
narrative
good.
talk.
Enough narrative
We're
talk.
talking
Let's get to more
Back-
narrative
back
talk
to
with the
the-
John Woo character. No, the John Woo character in this movie. This is definitely his most prominent role in any of his movies, for sure. Well, besides, he was actually one of the main actors in one of his kung fu movies, but
Oh, okay.
but this is like his most prominent of his well-known ones, where he's actually a character in it. And the background to this character is John Woo said that Chow Yun-fat came up to him one time and was like, "Hey John, I want you to be in a movie with me. I want you to act in a movie with me."
Yeah.
Because he's always been in
That's cute
he's
as
been in
fuck.
like all of his movies apparently,
That's
but he's
like-
never acted with them. So
That's cute as fuck.
it is cute as all
Oh my
hell.
God.
Yeah, he said that Chow Yun-fat wanted to show their real life relationship on screen, and he wanted Wu to be in a scene with them, so they created this character together.
Well, it's like how he just like
It's so cute.
he's like suggesting stuff to him, like you should do this, and like you're like, bro, you're literally the filmmaker, bro. Like,
You are God. You are God. But yeah, like we see that he's like a confidant because he used to be in the police, and it's shown to be the only person that understands Chow Yun-fat besides Tony Leung. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's just telling him about the friend he lost today. I didn't write down. any
Honestly, the
source
bar.
for
This is
There are
a
some
very like
things,
Western
but-
kind of trope, like the bartender that kind of is like very wise in a way.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you remember the amazing
Well,
one
to
from
me, it
Dark-
feels a little more musically, just in terms of like they're the only people there always. You know, it's a
Yeah.
little more expressionist.
Yeah, and then every once in a while,
But do you remember
comes
the
in.
bartender in My Darling Clementine?
Yeah.
You ever been in love, Jack? Okay, never mind.
Who's the bartender? Okay, I'll have to.
Oh, that's like one. Oh, that's amazing.
He's like, I need to rewatch my.
Yeah.
John Ford hater. You can't remember.
I like John Ford.
That's
I
the
like John
weed.
Ford a
No,
lot.
I'm just kidding.
Can't remember one of the best scenes. Anyway.
Yeah, after that scene, we're introduced to Tony Leung for the first time.
Yeah, I
Just
love
in
the hard cut too because I
I
think
do
there's.
too.
I forgot what they're talking about, but it's just a great hard cut to Tony Leung driving the.
Well, they're just talking about his friend's death,
Okay.
and then they just hard cut right to Tony
Tony
Leung
Leung,
driving that sexy ass car
Yeah.
to that awesome fucking music. It's so good.
Honestly.
It's so good.
Well, it's Hong Kong in the background.
Oh,
Beautiful.
well, he's
yes.
going to kill someone too.
Yes, yeah, he's
Yeah.
going to kill someone. Yeah, it's just he's going to the library.
Yeah.
He's just going for a good time to read. You know,
Yeah.
like he's just
doing his
Shakespeare.
Elaine Delon and Lay Samurai, or Jeff Costello's the character, but Jeff Costello compression, like goes to his like little hideout, like
Yes,
has some birds or paper
Some
birds,
paper cranes. Yes.
yeah.
No, I do love
There's
the,
never anyone else there.
Yeah,
It's all
like-
by
except for
himself.
Chow Yun-fat. No,
Okay, by surprise. Like,
no, I do love the hit that we see though, because it's just like it's just so smooth, man. This
Oh,
movie
yeah.
is so smooth. It's just Tony Leung is just walking the music slowly, and he's just like putting his finger, like tracing his fingers all along the books, finds the right
Yeah.
one, picks it up.
I was not expecting to be a gun in it, to be honest. Either.
You weren't? Okay.
No.
I mean, I've seen this too many times, so I know. I can't remember what I thought the first time, because I watched this in like 2018 or 2019
Yeah.
for the first time. I was probably surprised too, though.
Yeah,
no, I definitely
it's
wasn't.
insane.
The first time I watched, I wasn't expecting it, but
Yeah, because
It's a
just
Shakespeare
so-
book.
Because he starts,
so
because then
good.
then he starts like, doesn't he start like riffing the pages and stuff, like trying like looking.
No,
like,
he's just like going through it one by one.
Or
like,
no, when
while
he actually
talking to
sits
the
down,
guy.
though.
Oh
Is
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Whenever he
yeah.
actually sits down, he's just going through the pages one by one like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he's just talking to the guy across from him, saying like, "You betrayed Mr. Hoyt, Mr.
Yeah,
Hoyt."
I thought he was gonna pull a gun from like his like lap or something.
Yeah.
And then just like immediately from the book.
Oh,
man.
it's so good. And then you just get the slow walk out, also, like, or
yeah.
the witness or whatever.
And then
sees
like
the
and like
slow
at the
walk
blood
out.
scene, you just see like the outline. There was
That's
no
my
blood. It's just the
favorite
book.
part.
It's like
that's
what?
my favorite part is the outline.
It was like insane.
Even though there's a few things that don't make sense here, like why he would put the gun back into the library.
Can't trace it from him, I guess.
Yeah, probably
Why not just take the gun with him though, please? Like, why would you leave
Well, he's
the
a
murder
cop, so
Okay, but why
I
still
don't
leave the
know.
murder weapon?
I didn't really
there?
think about
Like,
this hard. I'm just like I'm just with the images, you know.
All right,
With the
all right,
flow.
all right.
why would you take the gun?
Because it's the murder weapon he just used to kill someone.
But they can't trace it to you.
Yeah, it's probably it's
You
it was
still
placed
take
by-
the gun.
It was
like-
placed from the guy from the mob.
At the very
so,
least,
like,
it's a useful weapon to have.
He has
I
more.
admit
He has
enough.
more.
He
weapons.
I
has
admit
enough,
it's a great weapon.
This is a John Woo world. You don't
Bro.
think he has 5 different weapons on his person at all
Probably.
times?
He
No,
probably
because
has
they don't
an AR
find
on
him
too.
somehow using that gun.
No, they don't find
Something
him.
about him.
No. Chai Yun-fat finds
The
the
book.
gun in the book, but he doesn't find anything out about
Okay.
him. I don't think. Not yet.
Okay.
Because we have Chai Yun-fat obviously finding it, but and then we get the quick scene of Tony Leung and his paper cranes. But then we're back at the police precinct, where we get flowers delivered to Chai Yun-fat's girlfriend. I just love these scenes, honestly, where Chai Yun-fat's just being a goober.
Ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, ex-girlfriend, exactly.
Well, it's very muddled. It's very muddled. Like,
It's complicated.
They obviously don't know where they're at. It's just kind of
Yeah.
confusing.
It's
but I like
complicated.
Another kind of John Woo romance. It's very
I do think it's stronger.
underdeveloped.
I think it's stronger in this one. I think it's stronger.
No,
in
it's
this
definitely. I
one.
like it. It's simple. It's simple.
Why? Because of what she
It's-
kills one person. I
She's
think?
strong.
It's simple. It's simple. I think.
I like her
It
character
works.
more than others.
All right, she is kind of funny and when she's singing and stuff. Very
She's
minor
funny,
role.
but she's
Very
no. She
minor.
has a very minor role
Yeah.
for sure. She's she
I
feels
like-
stronger willed.
and I like
And
how-
actually, she betrays them too. Now that I'm thinking about it, because remember she's like, they're like, don't tell anyone that we're going this certain direction, and then she's like, they're literally going that way, right after.
Where?
That happens later on in the movie
When?
when her boss comes in, with the cops and everyone, and they're hiding. They're in the hospital hiding.
No.
She definitely tells them where they're going.
Yeah, because they didn't say not to.
I'm pretty sure they did.
No, they
I don't
didn't.
remember.
You mean whenever they go in the morgue?
Yes, but yes. She said they say don't tell them we're going to the morgue. She
They
literally
did
says
not
they're going
say
to the
that.
morgue.
They
Yeah.
did not say that.
So why would she give them out though? Rat them out though?
They didn't say that.
No, she rats them out. She says they're at the morgue
She doesn't. Why is that ratting them out?
because they're trying to run away from them.
Which she is the police.
They're not running away from the police.
She probably thinks they're friend. They're going
At the
to meet up
time,
for
I thought they
something.
were or something.
They're not running from the police.
Yeah, they're probably. She's probably telling them that.
I think you're.
I don't remember
confused.
this part honestly. But basically telling them just she thinks they want to meet up and help them maybe.
No, because the whole thing.
I don't remember.
I think you're just confused because Chow Yun-fat and Tony Leung in that elevator scene with her, they're talking about their plan of how he wants her once he gets his signal, which is the flower, to evacuate all the patients in the building with the help of the cops, while they go down to the morgue and try to find the weapons cache, basically.
Okay.
And they never tell her not to tell anyone though, because they say their whole plan is for the cops to get all the patients out. So they're working with the cops.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Is that the scene you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the scene I'm talking about.
I also thought it was funny how just all of a sudden revealed Tony Leung was the one sending flowers to her.
Yes.
It was amazing.
No, it is amazing. But yeah, these flowers. I mean, it's a really good thing injected in this movie for me. Having to this is just a really interesting way for an undercover cop to send a code to a superintendent or whatever. You have to decode it using the musical alphabet basically. But this is where I was talking about earlier. We see the shrine of Guan Yu there, and Guan Yu we'll actually see him in Redcliffe soon. He was part of the classic Chinese novel, The Three Kingdoms, or The Legend of the Three Kingdoms, or whatever. But he was such a legendary warrior that they deified him, and apparently that is a god that was. The shrine of him was in every police precinct in Hong Kong, whether it was owned by the British or operated by the Chinese. It was in every single one apparently. And then John Woo said that, and then John Woo also said that the Triad also worshipped Guan Yu. So that's just a little something where he at least sees the comparison between the police and the Triad. But
why that god though?
Because he's the warrior god basically, but he's also the god of chivalry, loyalty, and honor.
Oh, okay.
But I do love his little Chow Yun-fat's little prayer to him. He's like, my love life's falling apart. My lady and I aren't getting along these days, so please try and help. But after this, we see Tony meeting with his boss in the Triad. This is more of the backstory to Tony that we're starting to see. We don't know he's the undercover cop yet. I don't know when we actually figured that out. I think it's after Chang Fat saves him is whenever we figure it out for the first time. If this is like your first watch, but this is just kind of showing who Tony is as a person, and kind of how he's infiltrated life into the triad, and kind of like adapted to it, because he's actually a pretty big part of the triad now. Like, he even says later on he's he's like a hero to the triad.
He's good at his job.
He is good at his job. Very good at his job. But he's just telling his boss in this one, like, he should go to Hawaii, basically, because it feels like he's trying to save his life, because we obviously see what's going to come up. But he gets called by Anthony Wong to come visit him. And Anthony Wong is the new up-and-coming triad boss that will eventually be the killer of, or will force in air quotes, Tony to kill his boss. But the intro to Anthony Wong is just really good. I love Anthony Wong. I know Danny probably loves him now too, because he's seen a lot of movies with him now. But
Johnny Toe, he's big in Johnny Toe.
Yeah, he's a big in Johnny Toe. He's a massive Hong Kong actor from the 90s.
Yeah. I need to watch some of his earlier. I was actually looking through that today. Some of his earlier movies, like 80s, when he's like younger.
Too.
Yeah.
I do too. No, I still need to watch more Anthony Wong, even though I've seen quite a few, but he's just in so much shit.
He's like over 200 apparently.
Yeah, no, that's the thing with like a lot of Hong Kong actors are in so much shit. Like Andy Lau's the same way. That's one reason why I love Channing Fat, because he like after he like went to the US, he like retired after those movies. He's like, I'm done, but he's worked a little bit more. But,
you like that he retired early? Damn.
I don't love it, but at the same time,
like,
I see all of his movies. So like I've seen a lot of his movies. So. But we're also introducing this scene to Philip Kwok, which is he's Mad Dog, who is the basically right hand man of Anthony Wong's character. But he's also, I told Danny this, but he was also a massive martial arts star in the 70s. Like he was in a lot of Shaw Brothers movies. He was one of the Venom Mob and Shang Chi's movies.
You said his name was Mad Dog too?
His name was Mad Dog in the movie. Yeah.
I wonder if that's like from the Raid. The Raid is homaging.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Because like he's literally like a Mad Dog character. Like they both play very similar.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't even know his name was Mad Dog in this. I just like I either have him as Denim Jacket or Eye Patch. And my
Denim Jacket or Eye Patch.
He's like always wearing one of those.
That's hilarious.
Does he have a high patch the whole time?
Yeah, he does.
Okay,
Patch the whole time.
He also has a jacket, pretty sure the whole time too. Yeah.
Just the Denim Jacket just sends me. I don't know. But no, he was a massively popular. He was a massively popular martial arts star. But he was also a stunt coordinator on this movie.
That makes sense.
I mean,
he barely talks.
He doesn't need to. But Tony or Anthony's. It's so hard because of both Tony. But no. Anthony Wong is trying to get Tony to join him. Basically, join his triad. Don't join his triad group and leave his boss, which Tony obviously denies. But shit. After this,
well, he tries to deny.
Well, he does at first, but he basically says like, "While Hoy lives, I won't join you," which is very open-ended because it's like he doesn't say don't kill him. He just says while he's alive, I'm not going to leave him. But after that, we go outside and we see that someone has put a bunch of newspapers about the tea house incident onto Anthony Wong's car. Ugh. And who else than Chow Yun-fat?
Yeah. You see, they started about and just almost like he just appears out of nowhere. Like
it feels like he appears literally out of nowhere. Because it's like, where was he hiding? I literally had that thought this time.
Like, yeah, I don't know. So funny.
No, because he just like appears like out of the background and he just starts being the shit out of Anthony Wong for a little bit. And Tony kind of comes to his. It's honestly like you can say he's saving Chow Yun-fat's life in this moment, because if he kept on going, you don't know, like maybe Anthony Wong and his men would have actually killed him. So, but he does walk up, and this is like the first time they see each other. I love it because John Woo freeze frames on it on both of their both of their faces, and then he just smacks him in the face with his gun. Yeah, it's great. But after this we get the. Classic Chow Yun-fat fishing scene, just on the pier, fishing for fish and throwing it back in the water while his informant Foxy is there asking about money. Yeah. And I think that that Chow Yun-fat in the scene is asking where Anthony Wong's like gun drop is going to be tonight, and he tells him. And after this, we get we get another code that Tony Leung has sent, and this is the scene where I think the code says, "Don't ever bite your own tail again." And in mentioning, obviously him mentioning like Chow Yun-fat's getting too close. But in response to that, basically, the police chief removes Chow Yun-fat from the case, and just a great scene of them just screaming at each other.
Chow Yun-fat getting mad at himself
He's
on
so
there.
good. It's so good, man.
Like that's why
It happens
honestly,
like multiple times. In this
honestly,
movie,
I think that's why you couldn't
superintendent,
cast him as Jackie in Bull in the Head, because like I don't know if I'd be able to take it as seriously. Like he's got like a comedic. That's what makes him
He has
so great.
comedic energy. Yes.
He has a comedic always to him. Like even in the serious role, he's always got
Yes.
some funniness to him. But that's why I love him.
Exactly.
But yeah, no,
You
like
need
when
to
he's
watch-
like yelling at his, like he does not care about his boss at all.
He definitely does not.
Bro's dedicated.
But after this is the raid on Hoy. I think his name's Hoy in this movie. Hoy, whatever. But this is I was telling Danny this a little bit. I think on Friday, but it's really interesting how Hard Boiled is basically set in 3 places. Like it's set at the tea house, which takes up a good 10-15 minutes of the first 30 minutes of the movie. And then it's set in this warehouse that we're about to get to with the raid on Hoy, where that massive action scene takes place. And then literally the last hour of this movie is all set in the hospital. So it's literally three action set pieces that have multiple action set pieces happening in them. But
And it's like basically like kind of like bridged by like certain like I guess the police station and like the boat.
Yeah. Like just bridged by these little moments
Everything
alone
about
with the
it.
characters. It's
I do
really
like that part
interesting,
of the movie. It doesn't connect to me as much, maybe, but
What?
like these
The
3
boat
set
thing?
pieces. Yeah.
Oh.
But I do like these long set pieces.
Yeah, because
I mean, this one's amazing because like you just like the music starts. I think the music starts playing right at the beginning whenever they're driving in. Just the do 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 do. It's so good.
He's actually really good at showing motorcycles entering a place too.
He is, and like it was during the scene where I think the interviewer on the Criterion commentary asked him something. He was like, "Oh, I was just always trying to one up myself." It was at this moment that he said that. But it was also in this moment that he said that during the filming of this warehouse sequence, basically, that his scriptwriter died, and so after this, they didn't have a scriptwriter. Like they didn't finish the warehouse scene before the scriptwriter died. So after this, it was all John Woo basically, just John Woo doing whatever the fuck he wanted. But I just love this scene. It's too much action to talk about, obviously. So we're just gonna I'm just gonna ask you guys what your favorite part of it is because it's so fucking amazing. So like we'll talk the first part. So the first part is the raid on Hoy, where they kill all of Hoy's men and then wait for Hoy to get there. And then so we'll get past this because the real action starts after that. But Tony's just like waiting there while Hoy drives in. Yeah. And this is the betrayal of like Tony from his old boss because Anthony Wong has basically told him like, in order for me to trust you, I have to see you kill your old boss. Which this entire thing is really interesting. It's just really like this is why like the undercover cop thing will never go out of fashion really because it's this whole thing of like he's being forced. He's a cop, but he's being forced to do like these massively illegal things and also violate his own code.
Yeah.
All to get someone else that he hates from every fiber of his being, basically, to believe in him, and then he's eventually going.
But he's also killing someone that he also doesn't really like have a true like connection with.
But basically,
this one though, it feels like his relationship
so?
with Hoy is deeper because he feels like a father figure.
Okay, interesting.
Wait.
Because
he cries after he kills him.
Okay,
But it's just like it's always there's always this like thing there. It's like is he acting or not? Like
yeah, for sure.
And like even then like if it is a father figure, like that's how like things can get muddled with undercover cops.
Exactly.
Like
this is why it's never
all
gonna
muddled,
get old, honestly.
Plus, dude, it's kind of interesting. Like just the idea of being forced to kill someone because we already see that in Bull in the Head too. Of like these characters, it's a whole different context. But like John Woo must like that idea of like. If you're just forced to kill someone you don't want to kill, when you pull the trigger almost, you know? Like,
I mean, yeah.
Because like Tony Logan feels like he's like just stuck. He has to kill. I think even the boss even says something like that. He's like, sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do. And then he even says, "I put my trust in the wrong man." I was like, oh, he's like blaming himself almost for this like that's about to happen.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like about this boss. He's like already accepted it. He's not like crying and everything about it.
No, yeah, he's like, I've had my time in sun.
Yeah, he likes these.
Because, we get some foreshadowing that something like this is probably going to happen because he's like, I was born in Hong Kong and I die in Hong Kong whenever they're talking earlier. Yeah. But I do think that the line is being melded with Tony in this, or like being melded with Tony in these, with the triad in this, because like he is so involved in their world that feels like he's starting to become a part of it. I know that he has a conversation with police chief on his birthday, talking a lot like that. Where we'll get to that point at a certain point, but where he's like, I've been so busy being a gangster, I forgot my own birthday, basically. So it's like, I think it's just like, in order for like these people to trust you, you have to literally become one of them, and once you are one of them, it's hard to like actually stay a cop, and that's one of the like interesting dynamics in this movie. Is like Tony's trying to straddle the line. It's like he's a very great character in this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I do want to say John Woo in the commentary did have this quote where he was like, I was asking my stunt people what did they feel comfortable doing, and apparently the stunt group said, if you can imagine it, we can do it. Just legendary quote. But hey, right after that quote, basically, Chow Yun-fat flies down from the fucking rafters.
Oh my God.
Just starts one of the biggest gunfights in John Woo. A lot of these are going to be some of the biggest gunfights in John Woo's career. So, I mean, any particular moments you guys
like
loved,
Batman.
it was
Like,
amazing. It's so amazing.
So you're saying up until all this closing stuff too, like with this whole gunfight?
Yeah.
You'll need to remind me of some of the stuff in the
Well, my favorite part is just in a visual level, it actually happens earlier during the first part. There's like a guy on a motorcycle that hits a guy in the truck.
I have that one written down too.
Oh, I love that one, dude.
That one's amazing.
That's just like, and then also Chow Yun-fat.
No, this one, I mean,
him just coming down like
it's
Lady Gaga in the Super Bowl.
Like Lady Gaga in the Super Bowl.
I just thought of it like, because then isn't that one, that Dark Knight scene or whatever, where he just like all of a sudden Bat just comes down like on a car or whatever from like the ceiling in a parking garage.
Yeah. But this one, that one is like straight down, right?
I guess.
This one, he's like kind of like floating.
Yeah, he's like
he's like shooting. He's like really
God.
He's just praying and spraying.
Like angel descending from the heavens, just like angel of death. Or
he is an angel of death.
Honestly.
No, I mean honestly, it is hard to choose a favorite part in this because it just flows so well.
Yeah.
Like,
and we do get another dual standoff with them too.
No, we do. Like that's the interesting part is like Chow Yun-fat's playing one on everyone, but it's really Tony Leung's not trying to kill him. And it makes Tony Leung even more impressive in this scene, honestly, because he's shooting around Chow Yun-fat, purposely missing him while Chow Yun-fat's trying his hardest to kill him. And so it just kind of makes it more impressive.
Honestly.
But I mean, Philip Kwok is here also. Like he's also in the background, kind of just like fucking things up because he's really awesome in this movie. Like Mad Dog is really awesome in this movie. He has some of the best parts in the opening, like the opening part of the raid.
This is also the scene where he lights the cig with the fire, the flame from the car.
Yes, right before. It's so fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's
honestly,
so fucking
that's a great
amazing.
moment. Oh my god.
But yeah, like I mean, the ending of this is just such an amazing moment because like they both come up in a very similar way to like The Killer, where they both where Danny Lee and Chow Yun-fat are.
That's what I was saying. It's very similar. Like
it's very similar where they both come up like that,
yeah.
and then Chow Yun-fat pulls the trigger. Fuck man, it's so good.
Well, and I also love Tony Leung where he could have killed him. And then he just like smiles and runs off. Like I love that.
Tony Leung's face after Chow Yun-fat pulls the trigger is some amazing acting because he pulls the trigger and he just looks so like it looks like a man that just escaped death because he did. So
no, but then his smile when he leaves him alive and then runs off is so
into
good.
the fog.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my god,
it's just so iconic. It's so iconic. No, but Chow Yun-fat. That's whenever Chow Yun-fat obviously knows this is a different type of cop than he's dealt with before. But I do love like the Tony Leung going and breaking down on his boat directly after that though because he did just escape death and so he goes and out into like the ocean like just starts screaming his head off like he's literally like this is what I was saying like he's trapped just like everyone else in Hong Kong just like at that scene that we saw in the beginning with all those trapped birds he's a trapped bird except he's trapped in the triad between the triad and the cops but the next scene we have is like one of the more iconic in terms of like Chow Yun-fat talking to his boss scenes in this movie where it's like
because like he knows
yes
he or
okay
suspicious
when you
that
say iconic it's got to be the other one that we did where he's just getting mad at him.
This one's really iconic.
This one is more just like serious.
This one has the quotes though.
Well, this is like more serious and stuff. I just like watching Chow Yun-fat being kind of funny.
When
he's like exploding at people.
He explodes at them. He's like,
Nothing's
"Did you enjoy
better-
the performance?"
Nothing's better than the Better Tomorrow 2 one where he's in the restaurant though.
if anyone listening has not seen Better Tomorrow 2, you have to watch it just for the rice scene. You will understand.
Except
what
for
I'm
Blake's
talking about.
actions say they don't have to watch it because he picked 9 movies and that wasn't one of them.
I picked 10 movies.
9, Redcliffe.
Oh
is
yeah,
one.
shit, that's true.
According to you, even though
It is one. It is one. You're right. We couldn't do it Better Tomorrow 2. We couldn't fit in not to 5 weeks.
No, I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. Just
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
the main overall point is I love seeing him get mad in like a funny way, though. That's like my favorite. Some of my favorite Italian bad moments.
It's amazing, Luke. You have to.
Because this one is more
watch it.
serious. Because he is actually saying serious things
yes.
about more maybe the theme like of the political themes you were saying at the beginning.
Yeah, the political themes of the movie are just like not knowing who's your friends.
Yeah.
Even if you're in the same precinct, basically, because he's talking to him about like I could have killed a cop today, because he's talking to him about Tony, and the guy says accidents happen, or this is whenever they're actually talking about the tea house, but he says accidents happen, and then like Tequila says accidents happen, and then the guy says police Tequila sacrifices on duty, a police officer bravely sacrifices his life. And then Shining Fat says, sacrifices? Is that what you call it? You better tell us who are the cops and who are the thieves and why you want us to kill each other. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like he's kind of just standing up for like what he sees. Like he's seeing things straight almost. Like he doesn't want what happened before, like him killing an undercover cop, or at least his police supervisor like telling him he did.
Or there's maybe this like idea
Happening,
of like
so.
he's been living under a lie, like he's been being lied to.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know who the cops literally and who our tribe members are.
Yeah. And you can obviously tell that like the death at the very beginning of either his friend or of that undercover cop, or of the undercover cop, or both, definitely affects him a lot during this movie. But right after that, we have the second meeting with John Woo, and I don't remember exactly what this one is all about. I think it's just about their version of justice. But the quote that I have written down from this is, I thought there would be justice. Every time a bastard got off, I lost more faith. But at the end of the day, I got over it. Because that's John Woo talking to Shining Fat. Yeah. And then Shining Fat said, and if you couldn't crack the case, then John Woo said suicide. But I think Foxy runs in like right after that. Because those are the only 3 guys that are like ever...
I think
ever
from the
on
story
screen.
perspective, that's why they always meet there. Is like the informant comes to talk to them there a lot, I guess.
Yeah. But this is the next thing is the meeting that I talked about earlier with Tony and the police chief on his birthday. It's like Tony is literally forgetting everything about his real life, and that's more of the blurring of the lines, like what is real, what is not. It's more of what Shining Fat was saying also, like you have to tell us who the good guys are and the bad guys are, and this good guy is not even really that good of a guy, honestly. Like he's done a lot of shitty things. Like we literally have seen this guy put a hit on someone at the beginning of this movie and killed him. So, and we saw him kill his boss. But after that entire meeting, we could go back to the boat. And Shining Fat is waiting there for Tony. And I kind of just love whenever like Tony knows something's up and the Shining Fat literally just flies down from the top.
Bro,
it's just
he
hilarious.
just appears out of nowhere somewhere.
He does that twice already. He's already done that twice.
It's so good.
Like,
Well, that's the 3rd time he's appeared out of nowhere, though.
I'm saying just from above, literally.
Yeah, but like, I mean,
the 3rd time.
The other times,
I
just
know.
kind of came out of nowhere, too.
Yeah, he's been doing that a lot.
I like it.
You already mentioned Batman once. Like,
Yeah, basically, like...
he's kind of got some the
He
hard-boiled
does,
detective
yeah.
part of Batman.
For sure.
Shining Fat as Batman.
I love it.
Although he's more
it's
Flash,
covering up
he's
his
more
face.
Flash, like personality.
The mask will cover up his face, which is like a big part of...
Cover up his eyes.
Yeah.
T. Lung would be a great Batman.
T-Lone would be amazing Batman, you're right. So stupid.
Yes, exactly. But,
No, this scene's just great because like this is probably one reason why I prefer the killer over it is like I think John Woo loves to do doubles as we've talked about throughout the series, but this one feels like he's trying to do a double a little bit between the two, but it's not as strong as something like the killer is to me, where it's like this is a scene where he's doing the double where he's showing like they are two sides of the same coin when he's asking Tony about like what the paper cranes are all about. Tony's like I build one for each person I kill, and then Shining Fat's like, oh, I play a new sax song, a new sax song anytime a cop dies. So it's just more like him trying to make doubles out of them. But I don't think it works as well in this movie.
Well, it doesn't because they are similar roles at the end of the day.
They are. They're both cops.
Yeah, except like the killer makes more sense because they actually are different jobs,
Yes.
like honestly opposing jobs, which is what makes like them being reflection of themselves kind of interesting, you know. But yeah, that's why it doesn't work for me. I don't know. It's kind of weird in this one. He's trying to force it a little bit, in my opinion.
I don't know about force as the wrong word, but it's just not as great.
Yeah, the idea doesn't work as well.
It doesn't work as well.
They could have just been friends, you know. Like, it didn't have to be a whole mirror thing.
Or they
like
could have just been cops.
Or cop. I mean, I like the kind of friendship thing.
I just like how it's like there's still that like illusionary thing of like the undercover cop thing, like the fact that he is still kind of a criminal in a way. Like, there's still that mirror to it that I think makes it just like more interesting than just like them both being cops. Like, there's always that like thing in there confusing everything. That's why I think it works.
In that way, I think I definitely agree. Especially Chow Yun-fat's kind of like realization of that, like that's what justice is like being more gray almost.
Well, his realization that he is a cop at all is the first thing that happens.
For Tony Long.
Yeah, for Tony Long. But
I'm saying for himself though, like kind of his own realization throughout the movie of like not believing in the system, like the system keeps lying to him, kind of thing.
Yeah,
like you could say they kind of connect on that level.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's what that second John Woo conversation with him is about, like the failure of the system.
Exactly, for Tony Long and Chow Yun-fat.
Yeah,
so you could say they kind of connect in that way.
Yeah, oh for sure. No, I do still like the double in this one. I just don't think I don't think he does it as well as he has before. But after all,
like you said, like that movie has way more like just narrative exposition throughout.
Does.
This one is like literally we're now at the hospital, basically, almost.
And
like,
I mean, after
like
a quick action sequence, obviously.
Oh shit!
But,
yeah.
No, because they do I don't know who these people are. I'm assuming they're survivors from Hoy's gang. But they do come and put out a hit on Tony and almost kill him. But Chow Yun-fat's there and saves the day, obviously.
And then Chow Yun-fat still has to kind of keep hidden too.
He does.
So then the one guy who's still alive like knows that and he's a traitor, and then like Tony Long just kills him right before they get there.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, but as Danny said, we are like literally at the hospital now. I think this is like an hour, 10 minutes in. There's still another hour of the movie left. So
it's just like why this movie flows so well for me.
I think so too. I do think, and John Woo would agree, the hospital scene is a little long. It goes a little long, but I also love it.
There's just too many dynamics for it to be too long.
Yeah. Well, John Woo,
I could have got a Sue Hark in there for sure. Maybe cut it down to.
Well, the thing I'll say is John Woo did say that he wished he had more time to edit this movie because he did not want the hospital scene to be this long. But
no, it's okay. It's good.
It just
we're chilling.
But
like I can see why people love it. It is his most like. If you love John Woo's like expressionistic, bombastic action,
literally
like,
a playground. It's literally just like his playground
so
for him.
good.
But like, I just love A Better Tomorrow, John Woo, where it's like so precise and like every image just feels like it's like totally necessary, you know, compared to this one where it's like. I mean, if John Woo himself is saying it, would I mean,
John Woo,
he's not giving us
deny the man, you know.
He's not giving us all enough credit here.
That's what I said too. Honestly, I was like, I kind of agree with him, but at the same time, I don't hate watching an hour of the hospital scene either. So
if you love a director, like it's good to have a movie where like they just went on.
I just love how it just has this like secret ass like just like system apparently that just like looks like a sci-fi like s like it's just like oh yeah that's just here to like connect.
I will say this like A Better Tomorrow like this first kill with like the denim jacket guy, Mad Dog. Like when he kills the informant.
Yeah, we should actually talk about the informant because we get a brief scene at the hospital with Tony getting patched up, and then we go to basically them putting a head out on Foxy, which is the informer, because they expect Anthony Wong expects like a mole in the group. And that's what eventually leads to the hospital because Foxy goes in whenever Chow Yun-fat and John Woo are talking for the third time. He stumbles in there like all beaten up because Tony Leung like he slipped the lighter into his pocket and shot him right there. But that third scene with John Woo is where Chow Yun-fat is telling about Tony being like a true friend and how they are both in danger. And then he's like, in my position, what would you do? And John Woo says, if he was my friend, I wouldn't hesitate. Whether he was right or wrong, even if I was still a cop, yes, I'd help him. I still help him. And then Chow Yun-fat's like, such character. And then John Woo's like, not me, old buddy. It's the guy up there.
So your translation says character. My translation said martyr.
Oh, okay.
So it says, then you're a martyr. And he's like, not me. It's the man up there.
Yeah, my translation said such character.
Such character. Okay.
But I still have just like John Woo suggesting some of the character that like literally he has control over. Like,
yes.
Like he's literally the filmmaker. Like,
I love that though.
It's so good.
I love this problem.
It's all the guy up there. It's so good. But yeah, like right after that, Foxy like stumbles in. They take.
You think he's like that's also a reference to his Plain Jane reference?
Yes, I know. I think that is a reference just to
like he's
what he feels
about he's talking about
directors in
himself.
general,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, he had the God
because he is
line.
controlling
God line,
everything.
because the God line Hard Boiled earlier also made me think of that, where it's like you give him 2 guns, he's a god, and that's literally like just John Woo commenting on his own filmography. But
yeah. Or like Godard has that famous line about like
you only need a girl and a gun.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been. Was it Godard?
that was a
Godard used it.
no,
Was
that
it
was
Ox or
a
something?
no,
It was
that
Griffith.
Yeah, Griffith.
Oh, it was
David
Griffith?
Yeah.
Damn.
But I think Godard used it at some point. I think.
I was gonna say it was the racist guy because I couldn't remember his name. But
Well, Griffith also has that
Or
other
D.W.
famous
Griffith.
quote where he's like, "You can't just like film wind and trees or whatever."
Whoa.
Yes,
And then
Wrong
like
again.
and then
Again.
like everyone proved him wrong. Basically, like Malick proved him wrong. Like Shyamalan honestly proved wrong the happening. Like
Oh, okay.
there's other.
Psy
stuff
proved
too.
him wrong.
Kiarostami through the whole.
Everyone did.
Everyone did. I mean, honestly, that's a stupid thing to say.
There's some
Who was he
also
referencing
is-
whenever he said
Yeah,
that?
that's what I'm curious.
I need to look at it again.
God,
Yeah. I wonder what he's talking about.
Griffith's great though. He's a good. Not as a good director.
you love him.
He's a good director.
I need to watch like Intolerance.
I don't like him as a
Tolerance
director.
is really good.
I don't like him as a
Tolerance.
director. I just love his politics. I haven't even seen this film.
Oh my god.
Like, imagine if someone said that. Oh, he made
You just-
movies? What?
Wait, really?
You just did say that.
Oh, okay.
We got it. No, his cross cutting is insane.
Dude, I need to watch Intolerance.
It's great. It's great. It's amazing.
I actually haven't seen any of Griffith's movies.
I've seen other short films of his. But yeah.
No, yeah.
Well, yeah. Now the actual hospital scene begins. So
Okay, yeah.
So now we're talking about like this is where all the main players are starting to show up at the hospital. You know, shit's about to start going down.
Yeah.
Like Foxy's there, Chow Yun-fat's checking him in, then Tony and Mad Dog walk in, and I just kind of love how everything's just like set up. Because I know that Foxy's death is one of Danny's favorites and is one of mine too in terms of visuals. Because like Mad Dog just comes out of nowhere, basically, it's so good. But like Tony Long and like their whole plan is to like put him in a different room and like fake out the guys that Anthony Wong sent with Tony Long to make sure he got the job done. And that all works out perfectly fine. But as they're about to walk out, I kind of love it that this whole thing hinges on Tony Long closing the door and talking to Chow Yun-fat for like 3 minutes,
Oh my
so
God.
that Mad Dog can finish killing everything.
But also, I just love when they when the other guys follow him into the room, like when he shoots in and stuff, and just like Chow Yun-fat just closes the door and comes out of nowhere, like from, like right behind the door.
Again.
Yeah, it's just.
It's like, where's this guy
It's a
coming
movie.
from?
It's this movie just like is just like. This is basically a movie consisting of Chow Yun-fat entering scenes out of nowhere and just causing havoc.
I mean,
That's
honestly,
a good way to think about it.
that's such a good.
Or
that's such a
honestly,
good
all
premise for a
three.
movie, so-
Like, multiple people. Like, Mad Dog's the same way.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
But-
just cool
But
entrances.
to me, this is like my favorite. Like, this is the most Better Tomorrow kill we get because it's like, it's just so pure. Like, it's just like one. I forgot what he says too. I have it written down. What does he say to him? What does Matt? He says something to him.
I think my translation was, "It's time for your
Yes,
operation."
yes.
Oh my god!
And then it goes single
It's so
slide,
good.
and then it cuts like it's almost like Boonwell's early movie with the eye.
Unchained Underwood.
Yeah, when he cuts the eye, then it cuts right to the moon.
Yeah.
It's like it's very similar. It's the cut, but it cuts to the blood splattering on the window.
Yeah.
Like right after, and then it cuts to and then Chow Yun-fat they get like they're like, oh, where'd he go? And they look out the door. And all you see is the window with the blood splatter and the guy walking right behind it.
Yes.
Like, and like that's all you need to know to be like that. He just like killed that guy.
Yeah.
So good.
Uh,
And then they just follow the blood trail. Obviously.
yeah.
Follow the blood trail all the way downstairs, and then Chow Yun-fat's like, it's time to regroup and get our plan more settled in. But I have in my notes Danny's least favorite part: the babies comes up in a quick
No,
scene.
it is kind of annoying. Like, whoever's running this hospital, how was it not your first idea to evacuate the babies first? And not last? Like, how is everyone like, oh, the baby, like, everyone's on the ground, like, oh, the babies are up there. Like,
This one's just
think about that. Like, that's our first priority is kids and babies. Like, that's always everyone's.
Or the and women, I guess, too.
And women, but still, even for women, it would be babies.
No, it's every man for himself.
Yeah. No, because they were evacuating normally. Like, this was procedure.
It's like,
oh,
shit,
like,
we forgot.
Yeah, or it's like her by herself. It's just so she can seem like a hero. I think she's like she's like the only person who cares about the babies. Or something.
Before we get to
it's
the
funny.
actual
It's, I like it.
Before we get there, though, we do have like the elevators with them actually making their plan. And then this is where they split up. Tony and Chow Yun-fat go down to the morgue, and then Teresa goes out to just sit in the waiting room, basically waiting for their signal. And I love the morgue scenes, honestly. Like this shit's just
so when
cool.
they dive out of them, it's just like insane.
So
like they're like riding.
Or what Tony Leung says though when the door closes. Once they walk
inside,
inside,
whenever they walk inside,
yeah.
like Chow Yun-fat's like, "Why'd you close the door?" And he's like, "We're not leaving anytime. We're not
yeah,
leaving right
he
now."
says, "I've got no intention of leaving."
Oh damn.
Yeah, it's just so good. And like whenever they're like stuck inside the vault, I really do like this scene. Not only because it's like a Les Circle Rouge obviously.
Yeah. Oh, that's like it's like.
But
so
it's
obvious.
also just like a good breathing moment in the movie because we've only seen action basically up to this point, where it's just like bang, 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 bang. And this is like a quick scene, like a short, like little 5 to 10 minutes where you just like get to sit down, let them talk for a few minutes, and catch your breath almost.
See, that's why I wish there was a little more of that in this movie.
I wish there was a little bit more of the two together because they're so good together.
Exactly.
But because the first half, the first three, like probably the first third of the movie, they aren't even like on screen together because they're just in two different worlds, which that's fine.
But I guess that element that you were just saying just then is like kind of like a Melville thing too, like. There's immediately bound, just like
yeah.
Also, like they maybe would have been great friends in a different life or something like that.
Exactly, like it's just like he doesn't need to show it really. I guess.
It's just Melville emphasizes those points way more. I feel like instead of like in this one, it just feels like.
I still feel it. I guess.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know, but I do love this vault scene. I do love like Tony starts throwing a fit, and Chow Yun-fat's like, "Oh, good job! Throwing tantrums always opens up steel doors." But his plan is he follows the wires and he just like unscrews a little thing, puts gunpowder inside there. This is where we get some of their like them just talking to each other, so it's really cool. But he puts like his gunpowder inside there, shoves a bullet in there, and then we just have just a classic.
I mean, to me, this is like
so.
Such a poetic John Woo way of like escaping a place too. Is using the bullet powder from a gun to cause like an explosion.
Yes,
it's like. It's not even a real thing you can probably do, but
then sacrificing yourself also to actually complete it. So
yes,
because Tony Leung has to actually shock the wires back into like opening up the door, and then he almost dies. But
it's like the most like movie logic. It's like the most John Woo logic makes sense. Like it wouldn't happen in the real world, but it's like in a John Woo world, it makes perfect sense.
Definitely.
I don't know. It just feels so poetic to me. Like, like you said, it's great that it's like a slow moment too when they're just like slowly getting the bullet powder from each bullet.
Because it's just like good like bond, like just like guys giving each other shit. It's just like I just love it because he's like, what year did you graduate or did you graduate? And then Tony Leung's like, oh maybe, and he's like, I would love to know the guy that trained you to be such an asshole or something. It's so good, but yeah. You could say that that's definitely Chow Yun-fat's comeback moment whenever he shoots the thing. Because this whole movie has felt like basically dead. There's just this guy like floating through almost. Or he's like trying to overcome like that basically overcome what the next scene whenever Tony like shocks the wires back. It's kind of cut with his old partner like falling down dead. Because he got shot. So it's just like him seeing that again, and then he revives Tony, brings him back to life. And that's whenever you can say he's like basically reborn, Chow Yun-fat himself. He's like, at least in terms of like Kenneth Hall, I like the way he put it in his book, because he's like, this is the moment where Chow Yun-fat is like a bringer of death to a giver of life, because he revives Tony Leung in the scene. And that's also something that plays into his rebirth later, but he's still a giver of death though, obviously, because he kills a lot more people after this. But after he shocks the thing back on and he revives him or whatever, they have like this drawn out fight with Philip Kwok, which is amazing. He ends up running and sealing them again inside while the coolant leaks. John Woo did say he had this be poison gas at first, but he said it was taking too long for them to get out, so they would have been dead by the time, so they just made coolant instead.
Alright, that's a good strategy.
Interesting.
But like,
You start out as poison gas, and like the scene takes longer and longer. You keep changing the substance. Oh, it was just
Go down the scale?
just a sprinkler. Or
just a sprinkler.
Just like slowly go down.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
list,
exactly.
Like,
But I do love the line that Philip Kwok says to Tony Leung in this scene, because he's like pointing his gun around him whenever they're fighting. He's like, there are two things I hate most: fucking cops and creeps that betray their old bosses. But then we're meanwhile back in the hospital with Teresa, and this is whenever all the other cops show up, and she tells them that the plan is they're going to go down, find the cash, or find the like weapons, and then they're going to tell us he's going to send me a rose, and we'll evacuate the hospital. And they're like, okay.
So when is this weapons cache mentioned earlier in the movie?
I'm just assuming it's a weapons cache just because he's a weapons dealer, and that's what they're looking for. Because the cops are looking where he's hiding his like weapons.
No, it's definitely his weapons cache
Yeah.
under there, right?
Yeah.
Is it ever mentioned earlier in the movie, Johnny's?
No, yeah. So whenever Foxy comes into the bar,
Yeah.
he says, where is he hiding the weapons? And he says Maple Hospital or something, or at the hospital.
But just an insane place for to hide weapons.
That's another thing that's great, and another like just people being trapped in something that against their will almost is like you're in this place where it's supposed to be all about life or like helping you like live basically, and right below you there's weapons of mass destruction basically.
No, because there's a line later on where
it's
Johnny,
all money. It's all money based
or
because that's the only reason.
exactly.
Because that's the only reason these things.
Because isn't a hospital boss like in on it or something?
Yeah, the hospital boss
Yeah.
is basically. Or that's at least what you assume because there's no way he wouldn't be.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and because Johnny even says a little later, like maybe next time I'll store all my guns under a police station.
Yes.
Kind of just like I love that too. Just the idea of like he kind of owns everything. Like if you have money, you can own anything. Another John Woo theme.
Another John Woo theme for sure. No, I do love this though because like they do start to evacuate everyone because she finds the rose in her pocket.
Except for the babies apparently because they're like fuck them kids. Think about what you just said. They're like evacuate everyone orderly except for the babies.
Except for the babies.
Oh, it's so funny.
But hey, they go back for the babies. It's just like they get there first. No, like, Teresa's there. She's trying to help.
Bro, they're small, you know.
She's trying to help. And then the triad come in.
And
then the triad come in, you know, like and stop her. So she does slap the triad too. You know?
Oh yeah.
But
that's literally the one shot. Like it's like, oh, see, it's a strong woman. That one shot.
She shoots him too. No, but then we're back with Tony and Giant Fat in the morgue as they're like trying to escape again. And I love the I personally love the line that Giant Fat gives to Tony Leung whenever he's asking like, how are you gonna give her the flowers? And he's like basically saying, I did already. A guy goes through hell for a girl, but she doesn't realize it. Basically saying like it took her 30 minutes to realize they actually gave her flowers. But they make their grand escape after that, and it is a grand escape, honestly. I think like this is whenever they just blow. Like I'm pretty sure they just like come guns blazing, just right out of the morgue.
Oh,
doors.
diving!
Like it's so good.
Okay,
Like
diving out of them, but also like still sliding afterwards, like they're like fucking surfboards or something. Good. It's like hilarious.
No, yeah, they fuck shit up. It's amazing. But we do get like this scene quickly of like Philip Kwok's character, Mad Dog, like telling Johnny to let the patients go. This is like John Woo like showing like this is his classic character, like his classic hitman character that has a moral code at least. Like he's like a bad guy, but he's not going to kill innocent people to get away he wants. Because as he says later, there are things that are over the line. But we do have a classic. Oh no, that's actually in the scene that says I've been around, but some things in life are over the line or out of line. But we do have a classic John Woo shot this next time of Chow Yun-fat getting like caught by this policeman, and then Tony Leung pulling his gun right beside him, and then all we hear is a gunshot after that, which at first you would think might be Chow Yun-fat dying if it was your first time watching, because their guns both had silencers on them.
Yeah.
Whenever we were watching them coming in, they both had silencers on. But we see that someone's captured Chow Yun-fat in air quotes. And as they're walking up, he slowly like pans and sees Tony Leung's head like right there. And they make a plan. It's kind of this is one of the cheesy moments in the movie that I also kind of like, but it's just like all the cops are just like head nodding at each other, like yeah, we're ready,
Yeah.
and then they go.
These are some of the dumbest like criminals ever. They're like it's like Batman Arkham Asylum criminals. Like, it's like literally like NPCs like just like turning their heads. I have no idea what's going on because then all the hostages drop at once and they get unloaded on.
It's so funny.
No awareness whatsoever.
Oh, but yeah, Chang Fat and Teresa, they're with the babies now.
Somehow, wait,
They go
I'm
for the
thinking
babies.
though.
Well,
They walked over.
No, I think Chang Fat just goes to where she is, and because everyone else is left, and I love Chang Fat because he's like, wow, so many babies. There must be hundreds of them. Do you really want this many kids? And she's like, yeah, why not? But after like we get this quick scene of them with the babies, I think we have like riot squads coming in to like try and start clearing the hospital, and Chow Yun-fat has them start helping her while he goes to help Tony. And we get one of probably my favorite scenes in this entire movie, which is like a 3 to 4 minute unbroken shot of like John Woo handheld. Like I don't know if it's broken or not. It might be because he does like some slow mo and some like fat and some like he's where he speeds up the film too. But it's like 4 minutes of actually unbroken shot of just them going down. I call it the tunnel scene because that's what John Woo calls it. But it's like just him following them. Basically, he said that he was inspired by Stanley Kubrick in The Shining for this scene in terms of the way to hold the camera because like whenever Jack is chasing Danny through the maze, it's very similar to this where it's just like following like close to the ground handheld, and that's where John Woo's like in this scene is just following handheld close to the ground as we're seeing Tony and Chow Yun-fat just like try to clear this entire hospital out basically, and it's just amazing. I love it so much, and it's like it's cool because like in this 4 minutes we have a break like right after Tony kills the cop, he kills this like cop, and then they go into the elevator and we have like this little break where they just talk for a little bit about like Tony being like, I killed a cop. Well, should I kill a cop? He's like, he's feeling super guilty. And then whenever the elevator opens, the fight starts again. And Tony's like, tell me, did I really kill a cop? And Chang Yun-fat's like, yeah. Okay. And he's like, fuck. But they just keep on going. And that's whenever the 4 minutes thing, or the like unbroken shot ends, and Philip Quote comes and kind of just fucks shit up again.
Well, like, Tony Leung kind of like says, I'll stay behind, doesn't he?
No, yeah. Well, so like Philip Quote comes and they start attacking, and then like it's cut to it's like intercut with Teresa being with the babies, and that whole situation of them like lowering the babies down. It's cut to that, and then like the triad are starting to regain position in the baby ward basically. So Chow Yun-fat goes and helps out. The baby ward is
That's hilarious.
And goes and helps. He has to go help Teresa with the babies. Shit, I just lost my place.
Where basically he's at the babies. Where the poster.
Where the poster happens.
I love there's like a poster that says God is the wind beneath our wings.
Oh,
and
yes,
he's holding the baby.
Yeah, that's our screenshot for our still for this episode.
He's such a good guy, you know.
He is a good guy. I love.
He even saves babies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He remembers to save babies, unlike everyone else in the hospital. So.
Yeah, that's honestly insane. I mean, this hospital boss is evil. Like
he is. Yeah, we can just go ahead and probably talk about the Tony Leung and Mad Dog's fight now. We'll finish that fight before coming back to the baby because the baby scene's after that a little bit. But Tony Leung and Mad Dog, while Chow Yun-fat's like talking to this baby, they're having like this insane gunfight where it's like this is more of just like the Bullet Ballet, where it's like definitely just martial arts like inspired, dance inspired choreography of them two just going at it, and then they've come into this like room full of just patients, and it's like their shared code of not killing innocent people like causes them to lay down their guns, and just this amazing scene of just both of them being like good guys for once, almost, or just like showing that Mad Dog's not evil. Like he has a code. He's not evil.
Both of them do.
And then Anthony Wong comes in, and fucking guns everyone down.
Yeah, that's like insane.
Well, because I think that's not the thing. Like what we even talked about with Bullet in the Head is like these old values don't even exist really anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, and like that's kind of the point of John Woo's movies is like these characters believe in values, or they never even really existed. Yeah. No, but I just love that moment. Anthony Wong comes in like after he's like, "Oh, the hostages are gonna like still live," and then nope.
Yeah.
No, they
But that's
will
what I'm
not.
saying. Like the contrast is so like because this is like it's obviously fitting. This happens, and then it's like immediately cuts to like Chow Yun-Fat saving the baby, like almost like
Yes.
a different movie. Like
It is almost like a different movie. Honestly.
yeah, because like we just saw like all these
So
hostages
good.
get like blown to like you think it's gonna be all like happy and stuff. Like it is a great moment though.
It is. No, I do love that moment a lot. But yeah,
David
meanwhile,
Because this causes the Mad Dog to go crazy too.
No,
like,
yeah. Mad Dog goes crazy, and he tries to kill Anthony
He
Wong.
tries to go too long. Like this is like I feel like I've seen this in so many like Marvel movies now, where it's like the villain with a good heart that has to like sacrifice himself to try to kill the main villain
It's
at the end.
derogatory the way he said that.
No, but I'm saying John Woo. I did say at the very first episode, John Woo's had a lot of negative effects on just like film movies.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean he's bad. But like
Okay.
that idea of like, because I was thinking earlier of like, what are good examples of like the Mad Dog villain, where it's like the side villain who's like super strong, where you need like two people to take him down. You know, because
Yeah.
that's like a classic in
It is
movies.
a classic.
Yeah.
man. That's a classic before John Woo.
Oh
took
yeah,
us.
that's just a movie classic thing.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, John Woo's obviously using a lot of tropes that he's that already existed, but he does them really well. To kind of stand out.
Does one the best of it. Honestly.
Why are you
I
saying
don't
that?
know.
I don't know
You
why
would
really
say
does it,
something.
No, no.
No, he does it very well. He does them very well.
Including the baby. But no, yeah, because meanwhile at the baby ward again, Chow Yun-Fat's taking him. He's singing "There She Rhymed" to him. I don't know. He's just being a good dad,
I
a
love
good
how
dad.
Wallace. Well, of course he's like there's guys coming. He's shooting them while the baby like still trying to live by. But the fact that he's like John Woo like puts like the nursery rhyme music, it's just like so. It makes it so good.
Cute.
Too.
It's just so cute, honestly.
Yeah. Baby's just chilling, doesn't know.
Well, I mean, the baby's cute as hell too. Like you go like.
Well, no,
like,
he doesn't know what's going on. He's like just kind of chilling.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Oh no, yeah.
I wish
Chow
Chow
Yun-Fat does
Yun-Fat
get shot in
did
this
that
one
to me.
too. So, oh yes.
That's maybe.
Did anyone hear that? No.
No. Anyway.
No. No, but anyways, Tony and Chow Yun-Fat are briefly reunited, and Tony basically just tells Chow Yun-Fat to get the baby out of here, and he's going after Anthony Wong alone. And I think that Chow Yun-Fat just yells like "Don't go" or something. He just yells like "Don't go," because he knows that he's going for like to basically die. But the next scene is just Chow Yun-Fat. This is one of my favorite scenes, and I'll tell you guys why. But Chow Yun-Fat running away from the explosion with the baby. I think I've already told you guys
the way
why
he does
before,
it too.
but-
The way he does it too is awesome. Because he's like ripping the wires out and shit. I forgot exactly how he does it.
Well, let me tell you why I love this scene so much. So, they did this in, I'm pretty sure, 2 cuts. Because the first cut they did, John Woo didn't like how slow the explosion was and how Chow Yun-Fat was so far ahead of the explosion. And so Terrence Chang said that John Woo said, "Let me press the button for the second take." And before Chow Yun-Fat was ready, he pushed the button. Chow Yun-Fat was running for his fucking life in the scene, like right here, like just running, like he just wasn't ready. And John Woo pushed it, but he did say that after the shot was over, Chow Yun-Fat went up to the DP and John Woo and asked how the shot looked.
Okay.
And then he turned around and said, "That motherfucker." Oh, that's so good. But the baby's pee saves Chow Yun-Fat's legs from being burned off. So. More
It's a
things.
little
Daniel
John Woo
loves.
comedic moment.
I do love the quote.
Okay,
You
if
said
that happened
the
in a
baby.
Marvel movie, you guys would be hating. That's all I was.
It's cute with the baby though. It's
John Woo
cute.
makes it work.
Chow
We've got
Yun-Fat,
it.
dude.
Oh, but if it was Captain America,
Woo's got the
cringy.
sauce. He's got the juice.
Hey, it's Chris Evans compared to Chow Yun-Fat. What are we talking about here?
I'm just saying the idea of like, oh, some
Chris
joke.
Evans would never cuss with
Joe
like
was too
piss
good.
pot. So
Wait, what?
I said Chris Evans would never say piss pot.
Oh, is that what he says there?
I love how Chow Yun-Fat says that. You saved the day there, you little piss pot.
yeah.
But yeah, no, he does grab the wire like you were saying earlier and jumps out of the fucking building.
It's like insane.
It's an insane take. It's just an insane scene. And also, the next scene that happens where he's running back to everyone where the explosions are firing randomly was also a mistake. But I will also tell you guys some backstory from the commentary on this one where Terrence Chang said that John Woo used so many explosives in the scene, or he had so many explosives set up during the scene where Chow Yun-Fat's running and the hospital is exploding behind him, that the demolition expert said this is too much, and asked Terrence Chang to tell John Woo to lower it, and so John Woo only used a fourth of the explosions he was planning on using. Dave's like, oh shit, what you missed out on?
Yeah, we still got a lot.
But the explosions also like went off out of time, and so Chang Fat was also kind of running for his life in the scene too. So he kind of probably took a couple of years off Chang Fat's life in this movie, but yes, after all this happens, you think everything's gonna be like, or you think things are like ending a little bit happy, and so John Woo brings Tony Leung and Anthony Wong back with Tony Leung's gotten captured, and it's kind of a rough scene because we've seen Shaggy and Fat literally be this superhero this entire movie, and now he's getting like degraded in front of everyone because he can't really do anything yet. And like I know that Anthony Wong basically tells him to slap himself, call himself impotent, and then get down on his knees, and he wants him to take his pants off. And then he's like, and Anthony Wong is like, "How often do you get to fuck around like this?" And rather than seeing this all happen, this is kind of like Tony Leung is kind of like Sydney, or kind of like Channing Fat's character in The Killer a little bit, where he doesn't want to see his friends degrade themselves, so he pulls Anthony Wong's gun and shoots himself in like the stomach. And Channing Fat, we get the amazing shot again of like just him being a marksman and kind of shooting another Le Rouge homage, where he just shoots Anthony Wong directly through the eye.
And the guy that does that is the cop.
Oh, he's a cop? I thought he was a...
He was a sniper. He's a corrupt cop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he was like
a sniper
looking for redemption.
That makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, they're kind of that way too.
Yeah, but it's an amazing, amazing ending. I do love how the camera just kind of like floats away from Tony as it
spins like a bomb.
Yeah, it's like just floating away from him. Yeah. And I wish that he would have kind of ended it there, or at least not had Tony on the boat afterwards, because it would have left it way more ambiguous, like if he's alive or dead, because that would have definitely felt like he was like dead. But John Woo said that the studio didn't let him in the movie like that. They wanted it to be a little bit happier.
And why not? Why not?
Honestly, why not? Tony Leung deserves it. So.
Honestly, I still thought him as dead. I thought like that last scene was like
it could easily be
like
seen
a flashback of him earlier,
or just as like this is like the afterlife.
This was like his life before he died,
or this is just the afterlife too, like because it's filmed very much like a dream.
To me, he died. Yeah, like he died in that previous thing.
I like it,
but I can see the stuff. Yeah,
it's filmed in a way to make it seem like he's alive, but I also still think he's dead. So. I like it though. I like it either way. Though.
It's like the Gloria ending.
So.
The what?
Gloria ending.
Honestly.
Studio trying to make people happy at the end, you know.
Yeah.
Then you could read as dead too.
Yeah, I could.
But it's just a great ending because it feels like all the tension's kind of released after like whenever we're at that ritual again and they're burning Tony Leung's paper, it just feels like kind of peaceful at that moment because like everything's over.
Yeah. Like
we've watched so much shit happen in this movie and now it's finally over and it's like, damn. It just feels a little peaceful, but that's the end of Hard Boiled. Just another amazing movie in John Woo's filmography.
Just all over the place, like emotionally.
It is.
In a good way.
Yes, in a good way. Definitely in a good way. Luke's favorite.
That is surprising.
I'm interested to see if that'll change next week whenever we talk about Hard Target and Face Off.
I'm so excited for Luke to watch Face Off.
Me too, man.
I think he's not gonna like it, but we'll see.
I like American movies.
Do you like Nicolas Cage?
He's cool.
Do you like John Travolta?
Yes.
Sure.
Damn, okay, he might not like the movie.
I haven't seen him in that much.
I don't know, yeah, I don't really like I haven't seen much John Travolta.
He's great in this.
He is amazing in Face Off. But yeah, we are
some
going
of the
to
most perfect casting ever.
We are moving to Hollywood next week for John Woo's Hollywood era with those two movies. So until then, we hope to see you guys floating through the clouds.